Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top local stories. The search for that missing 19-year-old continues this morning. Police say that McKenna Minor is believed to be missing in the mountains near Tibble Fork Reservoir. A helicopter and Department of Public Safety are out with the infrared radars to hopefully find her. Utah lakes may be helping each other out in the near future.
State senators are working on approving $2 million to fund a study about how Utah Lake could help the Great Salt Lake by improving their water supply. Both bodies of water are tied together by the Jordan River. The study would see if water from the Jordan River could be funneled into the Great Salt Lake through Utah Lake. The Great Salt Lake's levels have seen massive improvement in the last couple years, but it's still 5 to 8 feet below what is considered healthy. Utah Lake is at 97% capacity. With additional storms on the way, overflow could be dangerous for the area, and the Great Salt Lake could really use the extra water. Alexandria Bonia, KSL News Radio.
Now our top national story this hour from ABC News. Israel and Hamas are still working on a deal to free all the hostages and implement a long-term ceasefire.
Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Cairo expected to give an official response to a proposal for a 3-phased Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. Sources here in Jerusalem say phase 1 calls for a 6-week ceasefire. Hamas would free about 40 of the more than 100 Israeli hostages, civilian women, the elderly, and injured. Israel would release early over 100 jailed Palestinian criminals. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Your money at this moment, the markets are mixed. The Dow, the only one in the green, and is not by much. It's only up a tenth, represented by a gain of 38. The S&P is down 39, which is 0.8%, and the NASDAQ really taking a hit today. So far, anyway, it's off about 1.5%, down 223 this hour. Coming up, we'll get some more haze today, but wow, these temperatures are crazy. We'll check your forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to 27cash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to 27cash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Hey folks, it's Doug and Kathy with Window World.
Doug, can you believe it's been 20 years?
What's been 20 years?
Well, since we opened our first Window World store.
That is amazing. Our motto today is the same: quality products, professionally installed, backed up by our awesome warranty.
And our team shares those very same values.
Come see us today. We have stores in Murray and Spanish Fork for your convenience.
Experience the Window World difference. Call 801-281-8111 or visit windowworldutah.com.
And we promise no baloney.
Jeff Kaplan here. Every once in a while I do my show from home, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell. I'm on KSL and sending video to the internet all at the same time because I have Xfinity Wi-Fi. It's pretty amazing because at the same time my wife's streaming a movie, grandkids come over, one's watching YouTube, 2 are playing Minecraft, and others watching a flick, all while Grandma says, "Shh, Papa's on the air." We run all these devices, and I do a show thanks to my reliable, fast connection. Xfinity Wi-Fi is a game changer. Get wall-to-wall Wi-Fi on the Xfinity 10G network for a reliable connection throughout your home. Now through March 21st, new customers can get started with 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Going to a Jazz game is more fun together. Host an unforgettable night at Delta Center with colleagues, friends, families, whoever. Group tickets are the best way to get everyone together to cheer on the Jazz. Pick from a variety of options for seating, dining, and game day experiences. Start planning your big night at the game by calling 801-355-DUMP, emailing group sales at utahjazz.com, or simply visiting utahjazz.com/tickets.
Let's get another look at traffic and weather together here. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app, where you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Jason Jones, how we doing out there?
Well, we got a few trouble spots left over from the morning commute, Tim. Northbound I-15 coming out of Utah County. You're going to be a little bit slow until you get up to about Bangerter Highway. You're going to clear out there until you get up to about 7200 South, and then very heavy on your way up to 33rd South. That's due to that accident that we have. It's still off to the right shoulder there as you approach 3300 South on the northbound side. Still seeing the bus off to the side of the road. This is eastbound on the 201, but the delays are mostly gone at this point, so you don't have to worry about that. Southbound I-15 in Weber and Davis, though, looking really good. Big O Tires is locally owned and operated in Utah. Now through February 19th, get up to $160 off select sets of tires after mail-in rebate. Big O Tires, the team you trust. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, quick look at the weather here today. The forecast high 56. If we get to 57, I think that's what Matt said was the record high for the date. We'll see. But it's going to be oddly warm. It's a nice way to put it. Tomorrow, some rain comes our way. That's just the beginning. We'll have more rain on Saturday that'll turn to snow, hopefully in the mountains, and then a repeat performance coming around again on Tuesday of next week. Right now in Salt Lake City, it is 37 degrees. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Remember to listen online at kslnewsradio.com to Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We've had a couple of pretty controversial pieces of legislation signed late yesterday, early yesterday evening by Governor Spencer Cox. We've been reporting on them all morning long, and Dave and I are going to go more in depth today on the diversity, equity, and inclusion legislation that was just signed into law, what that means for schools, for government agencies, what it means for Utah families, and also on the in-depth in the 9 o'clock hour with the transgender bathroom bill.
Yeah, it's 9:08. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know. And this is brought to you by Mountain America Credit Union, by the way.
Countdown. 3.
As it just said, Governor Spencer Cox has put a signature on that controversial bill that's made national news. It would force transgender people to use a public bathroom. We think it is that it aligns with their gender listed on their birth certificate, but we've got to get some clarity, and so to do that, we're going to speak in just a few minutes, in about 25 minutes, to one of the bill's sponsors and ask, what does this look like at the airport? What does this look like at the courthouse? What does this look like at your child's school? Will there be signs to tell people which bathrooms to use? All of that information we're going to be asking the bill sponsor.
And will there be any unintended consequences? Remember, we're trying to get the Olympics. We're trying to get a Major League Baseball team, a hockey team. But I've seen in the past states that have passed this kind of legislation or any controversial legislation, NBA All-Star games have been moved out of cities. NCAA tournament games have been moved out of cities. Major League Baseball, their All-Star game, moved out of a city whenever there is a controversial law. It's very similar to what we just passed. So, what will be the unintended consequence of passing this law?
Countdown. 2.
Well, in the 10 o'clock hour, we've got our eyes on the housing market once again. There's been a tall ask by the governor to get 35,000 starter homes built for Utah families to buy and move into in 4 years. Sorry, I'll give it a little more time. 4 years, by 2028. So we're going to ask, is this possible? In fact, we're going to speak to one of the mayors of one of the fastest growing cities along the Wasatch Front and be like, are you on board with this? And what do your residents think about a whole bunch of starter homes right around the corner?
Well, that is crucial. And none of this gets done if you don't get buy-in from the local mayor and the city council, because they're the ones that control zoning. And that's where I want to really figure out if there's an appetite for this. Like, hey, all right, Mayor, are you fine putting 8 homes on an acre? Cutting these typical lots in half and putting 2 homes. Do you have an appetite for that? Because that's the solution.
Launch countdown 1.
And he's kind of asking this question. This full question is, do you want to get a big pay raise? Well, yeah. So I love that the Deseret News and the Hinckley Institute of Politics put this question out to Utahns, because we now know that most, 59%, support cutting the state income tax. Of course, my first thought was I'd be thrilled to get more money back in my paycheck. And the governor's told us right here on KSL News Radio in the past that he'd be for it. So let's go.
I would love to do away with the income tax, and I suspect we'll get there over time.
Now, remember, this upcoming November, we get a vote on whether or not to get rid of the sales tax on food. We want to cut taxes. We are cutting taxes all over the place. But if you get rid of the income tax, then we've got to make it up elsewhere, and we've got to make it up with sales tax. So maybe that food sales tax that's likely going to go away, maybe that has to stay. Is that the give and take that you're willing to make this happen? Because sure, just like you said, Deb, it sounds amazing. You're going to let me keep more money? Awesome. But they're going to get their money somehow. They're going to get their billions. It's just going to be through sales tax and property tax.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
There's no doubt when somebody says, hey, you want to cut the state income tax portion of your paycheck out and take that money home with you? Oh, yeah. 100%. And the new poll in the Deseret News, the Hinckley Institute of Politics, makes it clear. It's almost 60%. Want to see the state's income tax eliminated. Just gone, Dave.
Now, in part, the reason this is not 100% is because so much of our state income tax is directly tied to funding our schools. Education, K through 12, the vast majority of that money in our state constitution dictates that money has to go primarily to schools. So, sure, everyone would like to keep more money, but you have to be able to fund schools. You have to be able to fund all the other programs that are out there. So is that the sacrifice you're willing to make? Is just trusting that the legislature will continue to fund schools.
But we know from our own research here at Broadcast House here at KSL News Radio and talking to top politicians on Capitol Hill, there is definitely an appetite. There's an appetite to do away with the state income tax. And the governor said it right here on KSL News Radio. It was about a year ago that he said, I'd love to see it gone, but
I would love to do away with the income tax, and I suspect we'll get there over time. There has been a movement in lots of states to reduce the income tax. If you want more of something, you should tax it less. If you want less of it, you should tax it more. So we've got to kind of figure that out. But the question is always, if you get rid of the income tax, what are you going to replace it with? Because we can't just get rid of the income tax. That's impossible. And so what are you going to replace it with? And generally, that means a consumption tax. So think sales tax, only double.
Yeah, that's the reality. How about a doubling of the sales tax? That's when reality sets in.
This is like the stuff you buy. Like if you buy a new TV for $1,000 and the sales tax right now is about 7%. What if it was 14%?
And now it's 14. Now the argument
is that $140 in tax? Did I do the math right there?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's $70 otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's an additional $70. So yeah, it's kind of a shock to the system. The one nice thing about the consumption tax is you can choose whether or not you buy that television. That's a luxury. So a lot of these consumption taxes are luxuries. So you can say, oh, I can't afford it, or I need to save a little bit longer for that before I make the purchase.
So a lot of other states don't have an income tax. And I did the research for us this morning, Dave. I went down that rabbit hole to figure out, okay, they don't have a state income tax like Texas and Nevada, Washington. So how are they making up for it? Wait until I tell you what Texas is doing with property tax.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
The political accusations will only get louder.
Stop the invasion of our southern border.
He doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it.
The world around us will only become more divided. With more conflict come key decisions about news stories and the facts. That's why we choose our words carefully at KSL, ask better questions, and leave the conclusions to you. The stakes are higher, and we have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return airs. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life. So don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt! Yeah!
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The Utah Department of Health and Human Services wants to make sure people in Utah have the opportunity to live safe and healthy lives. To do that, they need to understand what services individuals can access in their communities and what barriers they face to accessing services where they live. For this survey, they want to hear from the Utah community, specifically people over 60, adults with disabilities of any kind, caregivers or people that support an older person or adult with a disability, service providers who provide support to older adults or adults with disabilities. They need as many people as possible to take this survey so they can better understand where the gaps are and where improvement is needed. The results of this survey will be delivered to the Division of Aging and Adult Services so they can better meet the needs of people across the state of Utah. To participate in this survey, please go to utahcommunitysurvey.com. All information will remain anonymous and secure. You can also take the survey by phone by calling 800-293-1538, extension 1610.
It's only a minute of news. How long could it take?
I do a lot of surfing late at night. I'm looking at all my favorite internet sources, Wall Street Journals, New York Times. People throw me ideas, but when I sit down in the morning and it's time to write, it has to resonate with me. I have to have something to say about it. It is my minute of news.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, Governor Spencer Cox has signed the controversial bathroom and diversity, equity, and inclusion bills into law. Second, a lawsuit against the West Jordan Police Department is moving to federal court. Officers accused of violating her rights and wrongfully arresting her while she was naked from the waist down. And third, a tax season has begun, and the Postal Service is reminding everyone to make sure your mail is safe by checking it frequently. We're going to look for a high today of 56 degrees. Right now in Salt Lake City, it's 37. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Okay, this is the time when reality starts to set in. When 59% of us say, hey, yeah, we are on board, at least somewhat, to a lot, with eliminating the state's income tax. It sounds awesome. And that's the first thing I was like, yay, more money in my paycheck. And then I'm like, oh, well, how are other states making up for the loss of the income tax or the money they're not collecting from income tax? Let's get into that.
Okay, there's so many things that are going through my brain, Deb. First of all, I love the idea of keeping more money, right? Right now, about 4.65% of my paycheck is going to the state every single year. So if I get to keep that, that's an automatic 4.5% raise, just right out of the gate. That is significant. And that's across the entire state because we have a flat tax. That means whether you make $1 billion a year or you're making $50,000, you're still getting taxed at about 4.5%. Mm-hmm. So the idea of that coming back into my pocket, that's awesome. Now, where the rubber hits the road is, great. Now you're buying a television. Now you're buying food. Now you're buying anything. Some new clothes. The sales tax probably gets doubled, according to the governor. Are you ready for that?
But other states are doing it a little differently.
Okay.
They're not just doubling the sales tax. They're doing other things. I don't know if you're going to like them anymore, but we're talking about this new poll by the Deseret News and Hinckley Institute of Politics. It says most Utahns are excited about the idea of eliminating the state income tax. I want to throw a little Debbie Downer moment here.
Okay.
We know from the Utah Taxpayers Association, this is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. You're not going to wake up and not have to, file, deal with state income tax on your paycheck. We're in this for the long haul until they figure out a way to do it. We also know that several other states don't collect state income tax, and that can put us at a disadvantage, according to the Utah Taxpayers Association.
It is a very long-term conversation. So the reason the conversation is happening is this is happening in other states. There are several other states that already have zero state income tax. There's been others that have now stated, hey, we are going there in the next 5 to 10 years. And so the conversation is happening. As we know, that's how you grow your economy. That's how you attract capital, businesses, people. Everybody is moving to these low or no income tax states, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, places in the South, and they are leaving high tax states. That's plainly obvious by the data. So it works, and so that's why the conversation is happening, but it will not be in the near term.
Now, if you look over the last 4 years, we've cut taxes every single year, assuming we pass another tax cut this year. We've only dropped down 0.4%. 0.4%, 0.4%
for our income taxes.
For our income taxes. That has been over $1 billion in tax cuts. We're talking about a full 4.65% if we were to get rid of it.
Is that even enough to buy a latte like once a year back on your paycheck? I don't know what that all works out to be, but I just know if the state income tax was eliminated, our paychecks would get bigger, right? But the second thought is, okay, this is too good to be true. How is Big Brother going to catch me? So, Dave, you sent me into my newsroom corner to do some research after our show meeting this morning, and here's what I came up with. I went to Forbes, and they have a breakdown of what different states are doing to make up for the fact that they don't collect state income tax, and several other states don't collect it. Tennessee, Alaska, Wyoming. How'd they get so lucky? I guess they need more people to live there. Texas, Florida. So Forbes, I want to talk about 3 states. Let's start with the state of Washington. They put a 7% state tax on capital gains. So if you sell stocks and you make all kinds of money, you're going to pay an extra 7% to the state in capital gains.
In addition?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Well, right. But here's where it will never apply to either one of us, is that's for over $250,000 in gains. Like, we're never that lucky. We never buy,
That
Dave and
would
I
be
never
awesome.
buy a stock low and sell high. We buy high, and then we try to wiggle out of it once it's crashed.
I bought Apple at $3.
So, yeah, that never happens.
I bought Bitcoin at 50 cents.
That never happened to Dave and I. So then Nevada. Let's talk about Nevada, because they do assess a higher sales tax to make up for. They also have gambling. So, I mean, maybe we need to put that in a bubble over here for a
quotation
second.
marks,
Yeah,
yeah.
like they have gambling. So that might help too. But Nevada does not have a state income tax. But the state and government combined local sales tax is well over 8% there. It's like 1% more in total compared to what we pay here. So when you buy stuff in Nevada, you're going to pay a lot more for like that television than if you cross the border into Utah and you bought the television. You're going to pay a lot more in sales tax and pay more in sales tax over time too. So they make up for it that way. And Utah's governor has painted this picture for us about, are you ready to increase the sales tax if we eliminate the state income tax?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't say it would be like 1%. He's like, oh no.
The question is always, if you get rid of the income tax, what are you going to replace it with? Because we can't just get rid of the income tax. That's impossible. And so what are you going to replace it with? And generally that means a consumption tax. So think sales tax, only double.
He said double.
Okay, so
it's a hypothetical, but it's scary.
Right. We talked to Rusty Cannon of the Utah Tax Commission, and he doesn't think it would require a doubling of the state tax. In his opinion, he thinks that enough business, enough people would move here specifically, and it would spur the economy, that they would make up that difference, in his opinion.
Because we have no state income tax.
Exactly.
It's a draw.
So maybe a few percentage points in his opinion. It wouldn't be a doubling. So maybe if you go from 6.5% or 7.5% to 9% versus 14%. But you had the numbers. How much do we collect right now in state income tax?
$7 billion a year. $7 billion.
So we would have to make up $7 billion in sales tax. That's the harsh reality. They're not scaling back their $30 billion a year budget. They're not going to do that. That's not going to happen.
Figure out a way to sell a lot more of those Life Elevated t-shirts or something like that.
Require everyone. You need 50.
Like they're selling them around the world. So let's get to Texas, because this one's really this is where my jaw dropped. If you own a home in Texas, again, no income tax there. Dave and I talking about this poll in the Deseret News where most Utahns would love to eliminate the state income tax. Texas, no income tax. Okay, so let's talk about property tax in Texas. Texas has one of the highest property tax rates on homes.
Okay.
So on a $300,000 home, you're like, it's $300,000. Oh, that's laughable. The median home price in Texas right now is $327,000.
Wow.
So on this is not out of the realm of possibility. A $300,000 home in Texas, your property tax would be almost $5,000 a year.
Okay. That's a lot.
It's a lot. But look, they don't collect state income tax.
Yeah.
So they're going to get it from us. They've got to. You can't, like the governor said, you can't just rip out the one leg of the stool, the income tax leg, and expect the stool to keep standing. You got to make up for it somehow.
You were wondering how much this will affect me, or how much money will I get to keep. And the math, oddly enough, is pretty simple in this case. Typically, taxes, not easy to figure out, but we're 4.65%. That's what our income tax. It's a flat tax, so everybody pays it. The average Utahn makes about $82,000. That's with a dual income, $82,000. That means you would keep about $4,000 a year. You would get an additional $4,000 coming to you. Now, you'll have to pay a lot of that out with increased sales tax, But are you coming out ahead with $4,000 extra in your pocket? I think so.
You think so?
I
Because you
think
can
so.
choose what you want to buy.
Yeah, and if we're having a lean year and we're not buying anything but the essentials, you're coming out ahead.
The governor last night notified us here at KSL News Radio that he'd signed the transgender bathroom bill, and it will go into effect. So we're going to ask the lawmaker who supported this legislation, Representative Kara Birkeland, next when she calls the show, what this new law will look like when you go to the airport, when you go to the courthouse, when you go to a university, or when you show up at, or your child shows up at their school.
It's 9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at our top local story this hour. Governor Spencer Cox has signed the controversial DEI and transgender bathroom bills, and Democratic lawmakers were quick to denounce the legislation. Here's KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Senate Democrats write in a press release that both controversial bills eliminate the progress Utah has made toward a more inclusive society. Among the unintended consequences Democrats say these bills could have are struggles recruiting a diverse and talented workforce and invalidating the struggles of marginalized community members. Writing his own response is Governor Cox's Democratic challenger, Representative Brian King. King says Cox is engaging in a culture war and, quote, caved to the right wing of the Republican Party. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A former Salt Lake City police officer accused of aggravated assault has been in court this week. Thomas Cagle is accused of aggravated assault after a car crash in 2022. Prosecutors say he was under the influence when he used his vehicle to pin a victim between his car and another car. The trial is expected to end tomorrow. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Senate Judiciary Committee is hearing from the CEOs of 5 major social media companies about what can be done to protect kids online. Committee Chairman Dick Durbin says as the technology advances, so do the tactics of predators.
With the touch of your finger, that smartphone that can entertain and inform you can become a back alley where the lives of your children are damaged and destroyed.
Congress failed to pass a law that would require stricter regulations on social media activity for kids and teens, although a handful of states have passed their own. Your money at this moment, the markets continue to be mixed. The Dow, the only one gaining today, and not by much. It's up 23 points. The S&P is down 41, which is 0.8%, and the tech stock's really taking it on the chin, at least so far, down 224. That represents 1.5%. Coming up, looks like we're in for more haze today, but crazy warm temperatures. We'll check the forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:32. News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
I can be a little forgetful sometimes, and because I can be a little forgetful sometimes, I get this complaint from my kids. Dad, we're out of soft water. They literally can tell when we're out of soft water. Now, the only thing I have to do is every couple months with my Kinetico water softener is put some salt in the bin. That's all I have to do. They take care of the rest. But after a couple months, sometimes I forget to reload it. And when we run out of soft water, my kids will actually say, hey, Dad, just so you know, we can tell the difference. That's what I was looking for. I really wanted a water softener that made a difference to my family. They love the way they feel after they take a shower or a bath. It keeps their skin soft and hydrated. We really struggle with dry skin in our family, and this has been fantastic. So if you're interested in getting soft water into your home and you're really trying to figure out what kind of difference it'll make, give Kinetico of Utah a call. They're an authorized Kinetico dealer, and their phone number is 801-576-8600, 801-576-8600, or, of course, you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
This Monday Tax Tip is brought to you by Susan Spears, CEO of the Utah Association of CPAs.
Did you know that you may be missing out on important deductions and credits if you don't correctly claim your dependents on your income taxes? Remember to provide Social Security numbers for your children or other dependents. If you are divorced, only one parent may claim the child as a dependent. If you both claim the same child as a dependent, the processing of your return will come to a screeching halt while the IRS works with the parties to straighten things out. Work with your CPA to streamline the process.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a CPA. Go to uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. That's uacpa.org. uacpa.org. Listen to KSL on Monday for more tax tips from the Utah Association of CPAs.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get the power of doing it right. Detailed project proposals, excellent customer service, and trusted professionals who get the job done on time and on budget. The power of experience. We're kings of the scaffolding and pros with the stucco. We've been there, done that. Get your project started at CertaPro.com and get the power of pro.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Enroll in Farm Bureau Financial Services Driveology, and you'll instantly save 10% on your auto insurance premium. Over time, your safe driving habits could earn you even bigger savings, up to 50%. Learn more and start saving with Driveology at fbfs.com/save. 10% savings applied at enrollment for select coverages. Future savings based on individual driving behaviors and varies by coverages selected. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Traffic and weather together, again brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Let's go back over to the traffic center in Jason.
Got a couple of trouble spots to chat about here. One of them is southbound on I-15 at about 6th North. It's off to the right shoulder, but you can see some slowing through that area there as there's emergency vehicles on scene. Also another accident. This is going to be eastbound on the 201 to try and go southbound onto I-215. It's off to the right shoulder there, right on the ramp. That's not really causing any delays, so you shouldn't have to worry about it too much, but we are seeing some slowing eastbound on Bangerter Highway down in the Riverton area at about 2700 West. Get the best Valentine's gift ever, a Minky Couture blanket. Save 50% by using promo code KSL50 in stores and online at minkycouture.com. Minky Couture, the best Valentine's gift ever. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today and tomorrow, oddly warm. We're going to look for highs in the 50s. 56, the exact forecast high. But they're looking for 60 possible in the southern end of the valley, so keep that in mind today. Rain doesn't arrive till tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll be on again, off again, it looks like, for the next week or so with precipitation. Right now in Salt Lake City, it's 39 degrees. At the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Remember to listen online at kslnewsradio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, the governor has signed the transgender bill that will impact how people who are transitioning or have transitioned will or can use a bathroom. I mean, it requires transgender people to use bathrooms, locker rooms, showers, and dressing rooms. According to either their birth certificate, we're going to get into more of these details with the bill's sponsor in just a moment so she can give us some clarity. And we do know it will impact government-owned or controlled buildings. One of the things I read in the Salt Lake Tribune, Dave, was, and I hadn't thought about, is airports. Impacts airports. Courthouses, libraries, maybe some sporting arenas. And certainly we've already talked quite a bit about the impact on our public schools.
Yeah, and I believe the same rules apply for K through 12. So Representative Kara Birkeland joins us right now. First of all, can you help clarify, because I've read conflicting reports of what was finally signed. Is it transgender people can go use the bathrooms according to their birth certificate, or is it according to their genitalia?
Well, thank you for having me on. And before I jump into that, I am going to make a quick pitch that if we're trying to figure out how to renew the revenue lost from eliminating the state income tax, We could always look at the lottery, which is a bill that I'm also proposing.
Now that's a totally
Representative, you can come back like tomorrow and talk to us about that.
There we go.
Absolutely.
I figured everyone had an opinion on that one.
All right. Thanks for weighing in.
So let me tell you that it is based upon their sex at birth. It's going to be based upon their that's why the bill defines man and a woman, and it's based upon that their sex at birth. However, it does not criminalize a person for just using the wrong facility based upon wrong meaning, sex at birth.
Okay, so let's walk through, for example, I was just reading the Salt Tribune's report on this last night, and they mentioned facilities like courthouses and airports. So walk us through an example of what this could look like at the Salt Lake International Airport, or maybe a smaller regional airport that it's owned by and controlled by a city.
So it's really pretty simple. If someone, and everyone keeps focusing on the transgender community, which is, I get that that's something that people want to talk about because they love to make a big deal out of that. But this is really not about the transgender community. In a conversation I had with Troy Williams from Equality Utah, he conveyed to me that the majority of transgender people that he has talked to, they're already using unisex bathrooms. And we heard in testimonies repeatedly that transgender individuals already today, last year, the year before that, felt uncomfortable in public bathrooms as it was. And so for a lot of those individuals, nothing's really going to change for them with this legislation. They will continue to use unisex bathrooms. We're going to create more accessibility to unisex bathrooms. But if you are, for your argument's sake, if you are a transgender man, no one is going to stop you or make a big deal or know if you're going to go in and use the bathroom and use it for its proper purpose. Walk into the men's room, use the bathroom, walk out. Nothing will happen. However, if you do something inappropriate, if you're loitering, if you're lewd, if you're all around creepy, which is what we were tasked to put into this bill by advocates of the LGBTQ community, is defining creepy. If you behave in that doesn't correspond with your sex at birth, then you could be criminally prosecuted. But it's only at the time that you do something that is inappropriate for the use of the bathroom.
Okay, so as I'm looking at that, the bathroom angle, to me, it makes, I guess, a lot of sense, because whether you're a trans male or a trans female, you're going to be using the stall according to the bathroom anyway. So let's shift it over a little bit more to the locker room, showers, dressing rooms, because I remember listening to a college swimmer, Riley Gaines. She was describing her experience when a trans athlete came into the women's locker room.
The NCAA forced female swimmers to share a locker room with Thomas, a 6'4", 22-year-old male who was fully intact with male genitalia. Let me be clear. We were not forewarned. We were not asked for our consent, and we did not give our consent.
Now, when it comes to bathrooms and stalls, there is inherently a lot of privacy there. But what about these locker rooms, showers, dressing rooms?
Thank you for that question. So the locker rooms and showers and dressing rooms, it is based upon biological sex. I have a constituent in 2022 that has an 8-year-old daughter. She came out of the bathroom toilet facility into the open dressing room to a fully naked man. Nothing could be done. Law enforcement could not do anything about this 8-year-old girl seeing a naked man in the women's bathroom that was in conjunction with the changing room based upon our current laws. And with this law that was just passed and signed, it would not be legal for a man to just enter the women's facilities and to show their privates or anything. You cannot do that in Utah now.
We're speaking live with Representative Kara Birkeland. She was one of the chief sponsors of the legislation that has changed the rules of the law regarding locker rooms, bathrooms, changing facilities in Utah. We're trying to get some clarification of how this would, what this would look like in our everyday world. And so, Representative Birkeland, you know, one of the places I work out at is has been it's a recreation center, and it's open, it's paid for through taxpayer money. So the bathrooms are at the back of the locker room. And so you do have to, it's a weird setup. It's a very 1960s or 70s building. So you do have to walk through the locker room to get to the bathrooms. So paint a picture for me as to how that would work if a man is transitioning to a female. He could not walk through that locker room to get to the bathroom. Is that how this would work?
If a male is transitioning to female, he cannot be in the women's facility unless he has had complete bottom surgery. And even then, at that time, that individual would have to keep their privates covered because not all bottom surgery is equal. And so that's the rule with this law.
I had read about a privacy plan. Could you explain that?
Yes, that is the K through 12 plan, and that didn't change throughout the process. It had a lot of support from many advocates across the state and stakeholders. All of it simply says it's K through 12. Boys will use the boys' facilities, girls will use the girls' facilities. If there's somebody who is perhaps transitioning, being bullied, has body image issues, medical conditions that don't garner an IEP or maybe aren't seen, but the child and parents want to have the school help them with, they have the ability to have a privacy plan put in place so that they can use a different facility, maybe a unisex, a faculty bathroom. Whatever the school district, it really puts it on the parent and student to reach out to the school and say, hey, we have a concern for our privacy, here's what's going on. And then the school will work directly with them to resolve that best respects that child's privacy and the other student's privacy.
Earlier in the show, and even yesterday when Dave and I were meeting for our pre-show meeting, Representative Birkeland, he brought up, and I brought up actually, and he kind of filled in the blanks for me because he knows so much about sports, which I really appreciate at moments like this. I said, do you think this bill will somehow impact Salt Lake bid to get like MLB, or Salt Lake's bid to get the Olympics, or a bid to get a National Hockey League team here in the state of Utah? What is your concern there, or do you have any concerns there that it would impact our efforts?
I don't, especially with the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics have been in China. They are the worst human rights in the world. They have the most violations of anyone in the world, and they went there. So I don't see them being concerned that Utah wants to create privacy and safety for all people in our state. As far as hockey or baseball, I think the bill it walks that fine line of respecting individuals while ensuring at the end of the day we have privacy, and respect and grace has to go everywhere. It has to be applied to everyone. It's not okay to say, I feel this way, I self-identify this way, and so there's no rules that apply to me. This says, look, you be you, you do you, but we're going to ensure that privacy and respect is upheld for everyone.
Representative Kara Birkeland, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate your time, Representative Birkeland, in helping us get a better understanding of how this legislation now signed by the governor will look once it floats out and it trickles out to the public, to areas that are to courthouses and schools and airports. So this does have some widespread impact across the state. But Dave, to your point, could it have an impact on for example, the bid to bring the Olympics here?
I think it absolutely could. And the reason I believe that, I'll give you several reasons why I believe that, because we have seen it through multiple sports in different scenarios over several years, where some of this controversial legislation has affected whether or not you get an all-star game, whether or not you get NCAA tournaments. And that is what I look at and I think, okay, we are trying to make some major pushes for major leagues and the Olympics. Could this affect it? Possibly.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey folks, Master Electrical has upfront pricing. Now, if if you're not quite sure what that means, I'm sure all of us have been burned or somebody that's burned with one of those hourly bids where someone comes out, gives you a bid. They think, oh, that's easy. I'm going to knock it out in an hour. And then a half a day later, it's still not done. The bill is big. That doesn't happen with Master Electrical.
No, you've got it. Absolutely, Dave. You said it. Upfront pricing and their upfront pricing guarantee is what makes Master Electrical so special in my viewpoint. And we've met with the owner. He just always touts customer service. I love that about Master Electrical, and I really appreciate this upfront pricing guarantee.
And they do everything that has to do with electricals. So if you want something small, like just adding a few lights or ceiling fans, maybe fix a smoke detector, or if you want to go big into installing generators, batteries, EV chargers, all of that can be done by Master Electrical.
The number to call, 801-543-2222. Again, that's 801-543-2222.
From Logan to Santaquin, they do emergency services as well. And you got the phone number, obviously, but here it is online, masterelectrical.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
ARUP needs you for platelets. Join KSL's Tim, Amanda, Dave, and Deb to learn more about how you can help your community through your life-saving donation. Visit utahblood.org.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, a new Utah charter school is putting the finishing touches on their virtual reality program. No classroom will be used. Second, the search for a missing 19-year-old continues this morning. Police say the McKenna minor is believed to be missing in the mountains near Tibble Fork Reservoir. And third, a bill to set ground rules for what it takes to remove a book from Utah schools just passed the state's House of Representatives. We're going to look for a high today under sunny skies, 56, and right now in Salt Lake City it is 39 degrees. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
The governor just signed that transgender bathroom bill that's been quite controversial and gotten national news coverage. It would require transgender individuals to use a bathroom or a locker room according to their birth certificate, like how they were born. Unless they've made a full transition. And we just spoke to the bill's sponsor, Representative Kara Birkeland, moments ago. If you missed that interview, we will, of course, be playing more of that throughout the show, and especially in our 11 o'clock hour. So if you have to step away for a minute, make sure you come back to us in the 11 o'clock hour where we hear more. But that was kind of the gist of it. She was explaining how this would work in everyday life, in courthouses, at airports. And we also asked the question about how, if she felt like this would impact our bid to get, for example, the Olympics, Dave.
Yeah, and I think it really could. And the reason I think it could affect is because we've seen this happen in the past. We've seen it happen from Major League Baseball, from the NCAA athletics. We've seen it happen. I'm going to give a couple of different examples of when this has happened, because we have seen a huge groundswell of support here in Utah to bring in Major League Baseball, to bring in the National Hockey League. The Jazz owner, Ryan Smith, has already met with the NHL. So has the governor and leadership. We are making huge pushes for Major League sports. That is long-term. That is every year. But then we have the one-time Olympics for 2034. So could these be affected? Well, let me give you a couple of examples. In 2016, this goes back, several years, North Carolina lost the NCAA tournament. Now, college basketball in North Carolina is the biggest thing going. Nothing even compares. It is absolutely monumental. So they passed what some considered some laws that didn't give protections to the LGBT community. When they passed that law at the state level, the state legislature, then the NCAA stepped in and said, to punish you, the state, we are going to remove the first and second round games from Greensboro, North Carolina.
That sounds like a big deal.
It costs the community millions. People are flying from all over the country into North Carolina for the NCAA tournament. March Madness is one of the biggest sporting events. It's like one step below the Super Bowl. It is absolutely monumental. So that was a very, very strong castigation of North Carolina.
Dave and I talking about the possible impacts a transgender bathroom bill would have on us attracting like Major League Baseball, the Olympics, National Hockey League to the state of Utah. And Dave's come with us to add us with some examples of where it's politically driven legislation that has impacted like the LGBTQ community did have fallout in North Carolina with that NCAA tournament. Do you have other examples?
Yeah, it wasn't just the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
The 2017 NBA All-Star Game was moved out of Charlotte. More recently, if you're thinking, oh, that's way too far back in 2021, the Atlanta Braves lost their All-Star Game to the Colorado Rockies. Now, this didn't have to do with LGBT legislation. Instead, this was akin to voter suppression. That was the argument. There were some voting laws that were being changed, and Major League Baseball packed up in an instant. This happened very, very quickly, within a matter of weeks and months, where this legislation happened, and Atlanta lost the All-Star Game. They moved the All-Star Game to Denver, Colorado. And remember, this is when people had probably already purchased tickets and flights and hotels.
Well, they're getting ready to go. We're going to keep an eye on. We'll keep an eye on it here to see if it has there is any impact as a result of it. But the chief sponsor of this legislation regarding the transgender bathroom bill just told us moments ago, right here on the show.
I don't, especially with the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics have been in China. They are the worst human rights in the world. They have the most violations of anyone in the world, and they went there. So I don't see them being concerned that Utah wants to create privacy and safety for all people in our state. As far as hockey or baseball.
That was Representative Kira Birkeland, who joined us just minutes ago. Feel free to download the podcast if you miss this conversation. We'll also address it in about an hour as well and continue this discussion. Thank you.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, a bill that requires people to use bathrooms that match the gender listed on their birth certificates in state-owned buildings, has now been signed into law by Governor Spencer Cox. In a statement, Cox said it will increase privacy protections for everyone.
The hard part about trying to get this right is that eventually the government has to draw a line somewhere, and, it's not anybody's favorite thing to do, and I wish we weren't having this debate, but here we are.
That's the floor sponsor of the bill, State Senator Dan McKay. The governor's also signed off on a bill that ends diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in government institutions, including Utah's public colleges. Supporters say this will create fair and equal opportunities for everyone. Utah National Guard managed to rattle some windows near Camp Williams yesterday with an artillery firing exercise. The Guard says that's done now, so things will be a lot quieter today. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg was one of the tech executives called to testify to the Senate Judiciary Committee today, talking about the potential harm done by social media. Zuckerberg pushed back on some recent studies that suggested social media use was detrimental to teens' mental health.
Mental health is a complex issue, and the existing body of scientific work has not shown a causal link between using social media and young people having worse mental health outcomes.
Congress has yet to pass a law that would require stricter regulations on social media activity for kids and teens. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day, but just a few points, 13 points right now. The NASDAQ has had a big slide so far this morning, though, down 216 points right now. And our KSL weather. Enjoy the sunshine while it's here. There's a storm on the way. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to 27cash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to 27cash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Jeff Kaplan here. Every once in a while I do my show from home, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell. I'm on KSL and sending video to the internet all at the same time because I have Xfinity Wi-Fi. It's pretty amazing because at the same time my wife's streaming a movie, grandkids come over, one's watching YouTube, two are playing Minecraft, and others watching a flick, all while Grandma says, "Shh, Papa's on the air." We run all these devices, and I do a show thanks to my reliable, fast connection. Xfinity Wi-Fi is a game changer. Get wall-to-wall Wi-Fi on the Xfinity 10G network for a reliable connection throughout your home. Now through March 21st, new customers can get started with 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
At Shane Company, we believe we're all made to shine. This Valentine's Day, celebrate the love of your life, your best friend, or your best self with unique fine jewelry from Shane Company. We're passionate about sourcing the most beautiful and vibrant gemstones from around the world so everyone can shine bright. We take the time to ensure each piece of jewelry is expertly crafted so it can be treasured forever. Visit Shane Company and discover Valentine's Day gifts for everyone, your new crush or your soulmate. Let them know how much you care with fine jewelry designed by us, guaranteed for life, for free. Radiant red rubies, pink sapphires, diamond hearts, gorgeous jewelry with all the colors and symbols of love. This Valentine's Day, give a necklace with a gemstone as special as your love, a gold ring engraved with a date you'll never forget, earrings that make their eyes sparkle. Give a gift that was made to shine. Shane Company. Fine jewelry since 1929.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Jason Jones.
Looks like this accident eastbound on the 201 at 215 to go southbound is a lot worse than we thought. They've closed that ramp down, so if you want to go southbound on 215 and you are eastbound on 201, you're going to need to find an alternate route to get to where you want to go, because that ramp is shut. Not sure exactly when it's going to reopen. Also, we have a problem northbound on I-15 between Sunset and Roy. There's no real accident, probably construction that's going to cause you some heavy delays through there, but it's moving fairly slow at this point. Everything else, though, is looking pretty decent along the Wasatch Front. No other problems on I-15. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, warm today, highs in the 50s, possibly 60 in some parts of the Wasatch Front. Cloudy tomorrow, though, with a chance of showers. Rain is likely on Friday with much cooler temperatures. Right now, 37 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
The Utah Governor Spencer Cox signing into law an end to diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at public universities. We're going to get more information on what this means and what this looks like in real time. And not long ago, the governor he put the writing on the wall that he'd support this legislation to do away with this practice.
I think that is awful. I think it's I mean bordering on evil that we're forcing people into a political framework before they can even apply for a job.
Now, when we are having this discussion about diversity, equity, inclusion, it's because the Supreme Court last year addressed this, and it was specifically to universities and how universities' admission policies take into account diversity, equity, inclusion in who they accept. And at the Supreme Court, I remember Justice Clarence Thomas asked this.
I've heard the word diversity quite a few times, and I don't have a clue what it means.
And I think it goes a little bit to the argument of some where they're not quite sure, are we talking about diversity of gender, race, sexual orientation, of diversity of thought? What does it necessarily believe? So once the Supreme Court made that ruling and struck down universities' ability to include race, gender, sexual orientation in their admission process, you're starting to see states kind of follow suit in some instances.
Holly Richardson with Utah Policy and also contributes to the Deseret News, was in this area, stopped by studio. You've been tracking this DEI legislation that the governor signed, Holly. Talk to us about how it looks practically across the state of Utah now that it's signed into law.
I think that's one of the questions, right, is how is this going to look? And it's not just universities, it's also K through 12, and it's also governmental entities, right? And so some of it for sure, we know that names of offices are going to change. So it's no longer going to be the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It may be the Office of Belonging. It may be the Office of Student Success, which is a lot of universities already have those, and that's where DEI funding is going to head, is towards offices of student success. It may look like something else, but one of the areas of concern, of course, is how is this actually going to implement on the university level, but on the K through 12 level as well, and who is it going to impact? And of course, the answer most people say is it's going to impact people on the margins. Although the sponsors of the bill say they want to make sure that it's equal across the playing field for everyone, whether their skin color is white or brown or black, that everyone who needs help can get help.
Is it the argument that DEI is at odds with merit?
Yeah, I think, this is, like you mentioned already, Dave, this is a national movement. There's at least 17 states that are running bills that are getting rid of DEI. And I think one of the things is that people say, well, you need to earn the right to be here, or I earned my way through college based on merit, and so we don't want you to just be handed this based on the color of your skin specifically. But it could be gender as well, right? So we have women's success centers. Do we need to change those now? Or do we open them up to men as well because they were specifically focused on one group, right? And it's a group of people who are women. Those are part of the questions that people want to know, right? And I think there certainly has been a politicalization of the words DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think one of the things that does fall out of that is people who feel disenfranchised on one side or the other. So just this last week, there was a professor who was not hired by the University of Utah, and he said it was reverse discrimination and brought a lawsuit against the U.
Holly Richardson with Utah Policy live in studio with us this morning talking about the DEI legislation that was signed into law last night by Governor Spencer Cox. So the law, in my read of it, Holly, is that would eliminate any requirements for applicants, new employees, to submit statements showing their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, personally for me, I would welcome filling out a statement like that. I have absolutely no issue going through my own career history and explaining how I have been inclusive to communities of all communities, race, color, gender. I have no issue with that. But did the governor, did he equate that to being evil?
Well, when he made that statement, he said it was specifically on hiring statements where you had to sign and agree to diversity policies. So it's certainly a different perspective, right? And the bill is actually much broader than just the hiring statements.
Okay.
It has to do with longevity. It has to do with getting tenure. It has to do with classroom management. It has to do with how you interact with students. Those are all, they all fall under this category of DEI. And that, I think, as this starts to play out, we'll see how it goes. But President Taylor Randall from the U yesterday, in an article in the Deseret News, said, what we're seeing nationally, we're seeing a loss of confidence within higher education, and that's trickling down to Utah as well. People are losing confidence in the institutions of higher ed, and it's impacting their students and our kids, and we come up with laws like this.
When it comes to the hiring practices, does this bill allow for any diversity or race, gender, religion? Can any of those factors be brought into the hiring process?
No.
At all?
None of those. Not at all. So you can teach classes. If you're a professor and you're talking about world religions, for example, you definitely can talk about diversity in religion. You can talk about uncomfortable topics like slavery, right? We can talk about those kind of things as professors, but they are not part of the hiring process at all.
Holly, is this getting any pushback from any groups outside the state or inside the state?
Well, sure. Certainly the Democrats within the state of Utah are pushing back, saying this, they represent a lot of times more marginalized communities. We know that in the state of Utah, our Native American students, our Hispanic students, we know that they do not perform as well as our white students. And so they're worried that this is going to make it worse. And then there's a question about Major League Baseball or, National Hockey League or even the Olympics. Is that something that they care enough about that they would, for example, not come to Utah because of statements like this?
Which is what Dave just got done speaking about regarding the transgender bathroom bill as well. So it looks like
we don't know, right?
We don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like that's something we're going to have to stand by and see.
Yeah.
Holly Richardson of Utah Policy, also one of our colleagues here at the Deseret News. We appreciate you being so available to us to walk us through these more complicated discussions that are happening on Utah's Capitol Hill.
It is an excellent description, Holly. Thank you. I think we hear some of these terms, DEI, and it can feel not only politicized, but I don't exactly understand what it means, but I think you've done a great job spelling it out, that especially when it comes to hiring practices, you can no longer factor these things into it, whether you are of a certain race, gender, religion, and, well, there you have it. Processing it now and how it goes forward and what it looks like practically from here will be the real hurdle, I think.
Thanks, Hall. We'll let you go back up to the hill and cover today's drama. Well, most Utahns say, bring us a permanent Major League Baseball team. We want one. It'll be a fun family time. Well, on deck, Deseret News opinion editor Jay Evenson, who's going to rain a bit on our popcorn and our peanuts here with how much this could actually cost taxpayers to help finance MLB in SLC. Here comes Jay right now. In the batter's box, Jay, you're up next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Now we know.
November 9th, 2024, BYU and Utah will play in Salt Lake City.
283 days until the rivalry game.
Touchdown, Cougars!
283 days of anticipation.
And the Cougs are right back in it.
Hear about the key matchups and feel all the emotion on this station. We are Utah's legacy home for the Cougars, Big 12 football, and Rivalry Week. KSL News Radio.
It's the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo.
Time to buy the boat of your dreams.
February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Great fun and shopping for the whole family.
The Boat Show is here, better climb aboard. Get your best deal and buy at the Boat Show.
Watch BMX pro riders jump and fly the ramps. Learn fly tying with fishing experts.
See hundreds of new surf boats, wake boats, ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats, cruisers, houseboats and shares, personal watercraft, marine accessories, trucks, and more.
Shop, compare, buy, and save on new boats and accessories.
Register to win a 5-day Alaskan fishing trip courtesy of RW Fishing.
ABC4 Utah and Utah's CW30 invites you to the most exciting boat buying event of the year, the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo, Thursday, February 1st through Sunday the 4th at Mountain America Expo in Sandy.
Buy tickets online and save $2 at utahboatshow.com. The Boat Show is here, better climb aboard.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Dodge, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Many shops have ASC and ICAR certified technicians, but few have certifications by General Motors, Nissan, Chrysler, Hyundai, Jeep, and many others, making Martins your right choice. Online at martinscollision.com, on State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Are you looking to get a COVID-19 booster to stay healthy this cold and flu season? If you join the Beehive study, you'll have the chance to receive up to $550 for getting a booster and completing weekly COVID tests and brief surveys about your health. Don't want to get a COVID-19 booster? That's okay too. You can still join the Beehive study and receive up to $550 for completing a weekly COVID tests and surveys. Help advance research at the University of Utah while taking care of yourself this season. Call 801-203-0320 or email beehivestudy@utah.edu to learn more. You can also visit the study website at beehivestudy.com.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Have you heard of IRS Tax Code Section 1.408A-4? It sounds complicated, but it's a simple tax law thousands of Utah families are using to lock in lower tax bills when they retire. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement, and some of this money is in an IRA or 401k, it could save you tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in future tax bills. You can find out how much you could save by requesting a free and confidential retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. For your free retirement tax analysis, call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622. 9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Governor Cox has signed a couple of controversial bills passed earlier in this legislative session. Second, the Utah National Guard says it's done firing artillery rounds at Camp Williams for now. Third, tech CEOs called to testify in a Senate hearing today about the potential harm caused to young people by social media. Right now, 37 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, when they're asked in a survey, most Utahns say, bring us a permanent Major League Baseball team. Get it here to SLC. It'll be such fun for the whole family. Next at bat, Jay Evenson, opinion editor of the Deseret News, who's about to rain on our popcorn and peanuts.
Listen, it's Cracker Jack, first of all. We don't do popcorn and baseball. We do Cracker Jack. Jay, I think so often what we have seen is when a new team is going to come to town, the number one thing that is addressed is where are they going to play and what stadium are they going to play in? Because we want a new stadium. They all require new, beautiful, state-of-the-art stadiums. The big question is, when these things cost perhaps several $100 million or even over $1 billion, who's going to pay for that, and what kind of tax breaks do you get?
I want to preface this by saying that I love baseball before I get into this.
You know us.
Before you ruin everybody's life?
I even took my oldest son when he learned how to drive. We went on a coast-to-coast trip and went to as many Major League games as we could in 2 weeks.
Fun. It'll be the last time you show up at any baseball games after this.
Probably. Well, somebody has to kind of bring us down to earth on this. And the truth is that Major League Baseball likes the community to put up some money for these stadiums because they want to see that there's public support for what they're doing. Las Vegas is going through this right now. So the Oakland A's are relocating to Las Vegas. They have to build a stadium down there. And it's going to cost $1.5 billion. And the state of Nevada is going to contribute about $380 million of that. In this case here, we're talking about not just a baseball stadium, but possibly a hockey arena as well, because the sight lines at the Delta Center aren't really good for hockey. There are some seats there where you just can't see all the ice. So we're talking about two facilities that we may have to help to subsidize. And the question, I guess, is, are Utahns up for that? Do they want to spend that kind of money? It's one thing to say we want to have these teams, but when it's your money, it may be a different thing.
Yeah, first pitch is one thing. The practicality of it is another. So, Jay, do you have numbers for us? Like how much this could cost us here, or for taxpayers, what we could be looking at? Is it over $1 billion, or we would just be responsible for a chunk of that?
I was up at the legislature earlier this week and last week, and there was talk about this, and they were talking about ways to try to hold taxpayers harmless. And there are some mechanisms that you can use so that you don't have to raise taxes. You can take the property value increase at a stadium site and use that extra money to retire loans, et cetera. It gets to be kind of complicated.
Yeah.
But you're always talking about using money for construction that could have been used for something else. And it's a matter of everybody in the state supporting this and paying for it, including people who maybe don't care about baseball or care about hockey. Should they be forced as well to pay for this?
That's a good point.
One of the arguments, and I tend to agree with this, is the amount of money that Major League Baseball or hockey would bring in over the long run makes it a slam dunk of an investment. So, for example, the average Major League team spends about $130 million a year just on salaries. On the 25 or 26 guys that are living in your state, they pay them $126 million a year. A hockey team, about $80 million a year. So just as far as bringing in salaries, you're bringing $200 and something million in salaries to a community where they're going to be buying their groceries, buying their cars, buying their homes, and that kind of influx it is huge. And this could be, the Jazz have been around since 79. So this is decades and decades of millions and millions of dollars coming into the community.
I think a better argument is that there are intangible benefits. So if you're going out and trying to recruit a company to come to relocate in Salt Lake City, it's an amenity that you can offer to say, well, we have a Major League Baseball team. We have the highest level of entertainment. We have, top-run Broadway shows. We have a great symphony. And so I think there are some of these intangibles that I think that's the better argument, actually, because
better than the hundreds of millions that are coming in every year.
I'm not sure what the total GDP is of Utah, but 100 million is probably a pretty small percentage of that. I'm geeky enough that I looked this up. Okay, in Utah we have 71,613 millionaire households. All right. So you're going to add 25, 30 more. It's really kind of a small percentage. I think you barely even notice the bump.
Go rewind, Jay. Rewind. Say that again. There's how many millionaire households already in Utah?
71,613.
Congratulations, Utah. That's pretty impressive.
Actually, it is per capita. It is really pretty high compared to other states.
Wow. Did not know. So the bottom line is here. We may want baseball. We may want hockey, professional, right? Like I know we have baseball and hockey. Okay, no, I don't want to see the text line light up. I know we have, but this is MLB.
Right.
This is NHL. But there's going to be a price to pay. Sounds like we don't know how much that price is going to be.
We don't. I spoke with some senators, and they said, hey, it's really too early to talk about this. But there are a couple of little sort of roadblocks that we've already run into. The governor is a great proponent of bringing a team here, but he has said, I don't want to subsidize billionaires. So he's already kind of staked his position. You have to convince him that it's a good idea. I spoke with Senator Mike Kennedy. He was one of three who voted against the resolution encouraging the team to come here. And he told me he supports Major League Baseball, thinks it's great. He doesn't want to spend any tax money on bringing them here. So, I mean, those are two voices, but they're two fairly powerful voices. So we'll see how this plays off.
That makes us kind of unpopular then, or maybe puts us in a position where we might lose out to another state.
It's
right?
not unusual to see this kind of opposition in cities where I would say that's probably not going to change anybody's opinion.
Oh, okay.
I was looking over the years. Econofact did some great research on this, but from 1970 to 2020, so over 50 years, they looked into how much state and local governments had put in and invested into teams, and it was over $33 billion in public funds to build arenas and stadiums.
So yes, and here's what happens. About 10 years after the team comes, then they start saying, we need a better stadium or we need renovations. And gosh, if we don't get that, there's a city over here that would love to have the team. And so It's because it's a monopoly. There's only one Major League Baseball. You can't go to a different league that's competing against MLB on that same level. So you have to be careful because those kinds of things happen, and that's where taxpayers, I think, get caught up in this endless funding of new facilities, new arenas.
It's in part why the Oakland A's are leaving Oakland.
Right.
Because they wanted a new stadium. Major League Baseball wanted them to have a new stadium, and they couldn't figure out a way to get a new one built. So they packed up, and they're building a $1.5 billion stadium in Las Vegas.
And it's going to be on the Strip, right?
Yes.
It's going to be where the Tropicana is,
yes,
which is at the end of the Strip.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is when you say $1.5 billion, I think the cost of property on the Strip there is just astronomical in and of itself.
Right. But as far as tax breaks and actual investment, we're talking about hundreds of millions. We're not talking about billions. Right? Do we have any idea?
Hundreds of millions.
No, the public would be asked to just put up a portion of that. So about $380 million versus $1.5 billion total cost.
So just under $400 million. Sounds like a bargain.
So, well, it could be. I'm just
Spread
saying
that
we need,
over 20, 30
Hey,
years.
let me tell you what.
That's
I'm
not a lot.
already trying to figure out how to get tickets. You know, not season tickets. I can't go to Vegas every game. What they play? How many? 80 home games?
81
I can't do
home
that.
games.
Well, maybe. Maybe I'll learn otherwise between now and then. But
Look, I think it's great. I'd love to have a team here. I'm just saying people need to be aware
Yeah.
of what will be required of them to bring them here.
Yeah.
Jay Evenson, thanks for joining us, opinion editor at the Deseret News.
Jay, you did not strike out looking. That is actually a ground rule double. Great stuff, as always. You can read his opinions at Deseret.com. He does great work, and thanks so much. We appreciate your time. We know that the governor said there's a huge need for thousands of starter homes in Utah in the next few years.
Why did we stop building starter homes? We're building everything else. We're building huge homes. We're building big apartment complexes, but we are not building 1,300 to 1,500 square foot homes, detached, single-family, owner-occupied housing.
So let's ask the mayor of Riverton straight ahead. You've got land out there, Mayor Staggs. You want to build us a whole bunch of brand new starter homes?
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. The search for a missing 19-year-old continues this morning. Police say McKenna Minor, believed to be missing in the mountains near Tibble Fork Reservoir. A helicopter and the Department of Public Safety out with infrared spotting systems trying to find her today. A new Utah charter school will be set in virtual reality. Here's KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Virtual Horizons Charter School will power up in August of next year. All classes will be held virtually. Students will be provided with VR headsets, Chromebooks, Wi-Fi, or whatever other tech they need to participate. The board chair of the school, Chris Alenkowski, told KSL at Night, the nice thing about it is that teachers will be able to do things that no one ever has before.
We can take kids back to a historical event. We can take them into space. We can take them back to the Jurassic era.
It will start out with 350 4th to 8th grade students its first year. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Biden administration signaled to reporters yesterday that a decision has been made on a response to Sunday's drone attack that killed 3 American service members and wounded dozens of others. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz has the latest from Amman, Jordan.
A senior official telling ABC News that the operation will last several days and hit multiple deliberate targets, including facilities that enabled the initial attack, most of them inside Syria. Another official says the president is unlikely to order any strikes inside Iran over concern it could expand the conflict.
That's ABC's Martha Raddatz. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up now on the day, about 25 points, but the NASDAQ still down steeply, 206 points right now. And our KSL weather looks like we've come to the end of our warm stretch. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:33.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
I guess it's human nature, Amanda, that no matter how much money we have in our savings account, it never seems like it's enough. And if you find yourself in that mode right now, let us direct you over to our friends at UCCU. They are wanting to help you supercharge your savings.
UCCU is offering high-rate savings options with yields up to 5.5%. All you do is go to UCCU.com and select a high-rate savings option to do just what you said, supercharge your savings.
You're going to get a much bigger return on your savings right now. It's a savings certificate, which means you make one deposit up front and your money grows over a fixed period of time. So you can have that grow over 5 years, but UCCU has created some very short-term savings certificates with high yields, short like 6 months, 9 months, or a year.
So you decide how long do you want to put that money. You deposit money, a one-time only deposit, and then you let it stay in. The longer it stays in there, the higher the interest rate you earn.
And if you need immediate access to your money, UCCU's Money Market will give you a high yield and anytime access.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
Okay, that's good. Whoa, Dave!
Sorry, I'll go grab some paper towels.
You can't let Dave pour things. He works at JCW's. They fill stuff up past the brim over there, like their milkshakes. They're thick, rich, and oh my gosh.
Delicious?
Oh no. Dave's filling up Crystal's car for her.
Dave, stop.
Hey, this is Clark, JCW. Stop into any of our 5 locations today. We're located in American Fork, Thanksgiving Point, Provo, South Jordan, and our new location in Harriman. Come in and see why at JCW's we believe in quality and a lot of it.
The Utah Department of Health and Human Services wants to make sure people in Utah have the opportunity to live safe and healthy lives. To do that, they need to understand what services individuals can access in their communities and what barriers they face to accessing services where they live. For this survey, they want to hear from the Utah community, specifically people over 60, adults with disabilities of any kind, caregivers or people that support an older person or adult with a disability, service providers who provide support to older adults or adults with disabilities. They need as many people as possible to take this survey so they can better understand where the gaps are and where improvement is needed. The results of this survey will be delivered to the Division of Aging and Adult Services so they can better meet the needs of people across the state of Utah. To participate in this survey, please go to utahcommunitysurvey.com. All information will remain anonymous and secure. You can also take the survey by phone by calling 800-293-1538, extension 1610.
Tim and Amanda.
Do I look forward to reporting the news? Yes, insofar as it helps me understand what's happening.
We know that it's important information that's going to impact people's lives, and so that makes the job of reporting the news that day easier.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Jason Jones.
And still looking at the same problem if you're eastbound on the 201. The off-ramp to go to southbound 215 is closed. There's an accident there, so you're definitely going to want to find an alternate route. In fact, you have to find an alternate route if you want to go southbound. You try Bangerter Highway, maybe go past it to Redwood Road or over to I-15, depending on where exactly you need to end up. But you cannot go southbound on the 215 from eastbound 201. Everything else is looking really good. The delays we had earlier in Roy are all gone, and all other delays on I-15 have all cleared out as well. Save up to 20 cents off per gallon using Sinclair's DinoPay app. Find a Sinclair station, store amenities, purchase history, and enjoy a simple, secure way to pay for fuel. Download the free app today. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, warm today, highs in the 50s, possibly 60 in some areas of the Wasatch Front. Cloudy tomorrow with a chance of showers. Rain is likely on Friday with much cooler temperatures. And right now, we're at 43 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, priced out, housing, special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
I just love that we are committed to bringing you the latest information on the housing market. Every single week right here on the Dave and Dujanovic Show. And when the governor says we need to build 35,000 new starter homes by 2028, my mind immediately goes to communities like Riverton, Utah, at the south end of Salt Lake County, because you got land out there. So in a moment, we're going to talk to the mayor. Like, are your residents willing to sort of take this on?
The governor said there are almost 200,000 lots available to build here in Utah. And what do we need? How many do we need? 35,000?
35,000.
So we have plenty of lots. We have space. One of the biggest problems we have right now is cities. Cities are not willing to zone in a way that promotes or requires these single-family units.
Well, the governor's stepping up. He talked to us the first day of the legislative session. We were live with him when he said, yeah, we've got to build thousands of starter homes, affordable, so families can start building equity.
People don't want to have kids until they can own a home, and so they put off having kids. It's family development. It's all of these things that are so core to who we are, and it's not just a Utah problem. It's happening all across the country. Every governor I talk to them, everybody's struggling with this right now, but no one has figured it out. And so it's my top. It's not just my top priority. It's 1, 2, and 3 this session. We have to figure this out, and we have to get this right.
Dave, you have some numbers on how dire the starter home situation is in Utah.
This was incredible. As we've been doing research in this, I asked a realtor, I said, okay, the governor said we don't have any 1,200 to 1,500 square foot starter homes. And I asked the realtor, I said, okay, there's 12,000 homes for sale here in Utah. How many fall under that parameter? 12 to 1,500 square feet. And he said 71 in the state.
We expect
out of 12,000 homes.
We expect zeros after that.
Yeah.
And he said 71.
Yeah.
And these are homes that are, we don't even know if they're within
He
the
said
range.
they needed some love, which is like code for it's a disaster. You're going to have to rebuild it from the ground up. But there just isn't a market. And this is a developer problem. Developers are not building these homes, and cities are not requiring developers to build them.
Mayor Trent Staggs of Riverton. Sorry, you've got to be our guinea pig on this, Mayor Staggs, but I couldn't think of anybody better. I'm in Riverton a lot. I was there last night driving to the post office, and there's a lot of open land out there. So is the city and its residents willing to step up and take on some of this responsibility?
Well, thanks for having me on. Yeah, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. This is my 7th year as mayor. I've been dealing with this topic for that long at least. And I couldn't disagree with your analysis and assessment from the outset that this is something that cities have been unwilling to take on. It's not true. We have the better, the 200,000 housing units that are entitled along the Wasatch Front. A good 3,000 of those are in our community and have been entitled for almost a decade. Yet the development community has been unwilling to build. And so cities don't build housing. We do control land use authority, or should. I know the state, through a recent legislative auditor general's report, is looking at taking that back and proposing or recommending top-down housing targets, centralized control like California is doing. I disagree, vociferously with that type of approach. I don't think it's worked. In the last 6 years, we've had over 24 pieces of legislation at the state legislature, where so many are dominated by developer interest. There's about a quarter of our state legislature that has ties. That's been something that's been well reported. And even despite all of that legislation that's passed, we've now gone, this legislation that's taken land use authority away from cities, we've gone from the 6th most affordable back in 2016 to nearly dead last now. And so I don't believe that more government is is here. I think that this is a problem nationwide. It's a supply and demand issue, but cities have been entitling more and allowing for much more dense projects. And in Riverton, for example, right off of Mountain View Corridor and 134 South, where we've got our great new Mountain View Village and Costco and all these amenities, we have thousands of housing units there that have been entitled for years at 6 or 7 units to the acre gross density. And so, that's something that I want to try to highlight. There is a lot of land in this area, but most of it is spoken for. It's been entitled. I mean, just in the southwest part of the county, we've got about 20,000 housing units that have been entitled, and some of it for more than a decade. And so this is something where I really feel like market forces have more to do than, and builders are looking at their profitability and what they can build and what's going to make money for them and what makes sense for them. At times, I feel like there's almost a perverse incentive for some developers just to hold on to these entitled units because prices are going to go up.
Is there a solution then that you see on the city level? Because that is what the state is saying is we've got to work with the cities. We've got to work with the municipalities to somehow incentivize these these starter homes?
Well, I think that for the past at least 6 years, like I said, there have been 24 pieces of legislation where the state has really carved or taken back land use authority from cities and have been threatening punishments, and we're going to take away your gas tax monies if you don't cooperate. I mean, there's been a lot of threats laid at municipalities. They are, by and large, doing as best they can to rezone and make accommodations for higher density units that one would think would be starter homes. But it's really up to the development community. I've been advocating as a mayor, if we are going to rezone and create these higher densities to spur the type of housing units that we don't have a good supply of, then we really need to put sunset clauses in there. I mean, if developers aren't going to build within a 5-year period of time, it needs to be back. And maybe that would give some type of motivation to the development community to move forward, knowing that they're not going to have this zoning indefinitely. I think that's part of the problem, because many mayors I speak with, we're doing a lot. And these 200,000 units are just not being built.
They're not being built. Mayor, I was going to ask you that because I'm always over there by that Costco and drive that road. That there's a ton of vacant land out there in the Riverton area behind that Costco. I mean, I don't know what a ton is. It seems like a ton to me. But areas like that being like they're bought up by developers and then they're just not being developed. Is that an example of what's happening? Am I getting my head straight on that?
You are.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of land back there that could accommodate single-family homes, and that's been vacant for a long time.
It has. To your point, that I was on our city council first before being elected mayor. I mean, back in 2015 or so, we ended up approving a master development agreement there with higher density, and there's some 3,000 units that could be built there could have been built since that time. And we're just now seeing some housing going. That's an issue where developers are sitting on land. And second, the other issue that I see is there's a lot of corporate ownership of housing. We refer to these sometimes as Wall Street landlords. I think a good 15 to 20+% of single family homes are gobbled up by these large corporate institutions, and they're rented. And so you look at the situation we have in Utah, where there is a shortage of housing, it exacerbates the problem because these corporate interests come in and buy product. So this limited housing supply that we have, they're taking even more availability from the supply pool and just wanting to rent. I mean, just by that Costco that we have, we've got over 360 units that are all corporate housing. They're all for rent. And I'm seeing this happening more and more. And unfortunately, the state of Utah has passed legislation that prohibits cities from actually regulating ownership. We can't do it. I think the state legislatures should look at this, and that could free up a ton of supply.
Wow. I've seen those homes, and they did say they're brand new, and they said for lease, and I was shocked. They look like single-family homes that you could go in and buy, and the sign out front says for lease. Mayor Trent Staggs, this is a whole new wrinkle in this conversation that you've just brought up. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us walking through this from the city's perspective of what's going on.
Several things that he pointed out, gave solutions or possible solutions that I hadn't thought of. The sunset clause, so a developer can't buy a land and just sit on it for a decade. Perhaps a sunset clause where if you don't develop in the first 5 years, then it goes back up to auction. Reducing the corporate purchasing of all these large units, the Wall Street Corporation that are buying these, maybe restrict those. This is what I'm looking for, some solutions, because right now the market is in no way allowing for starter homes. We're just not seeing any of these homes being built. Sure, there's some townhouses and condos, but other than that, I'm telling you, we have a real problem.
Next, we've got the Stern team joining us. They've been keeping an eye on interest rates. We know what the Fed does over the next few months will impact our willingness or an excitement to either sell our homes or go looking for the opportunity to buy a new home, but interest rates are keeping a lot of people in their homes right now because why? You got a 3%. Why would you move?
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio. With interest rates coming back down, I bet the real estate market will pick back up in 2024. We're already seeing that, Tim.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter how the market is doing when you have the right team. So if you're looking to sell your house, now you want to downsize or you need more space, you need the Stern team.
The Stern team has taught us, I can think of a handful of things that I would worry about if I was buying or selling, but there are 100 details that are involved in selling a home, and they have lots of people that are handling every detail so nothing falls through the cracks.
And they have so many different options. I mean, I worked with Cammie there at the Stern team, and she was awesome. But if you need an instant cash offer, you can do that. If you need to buy before you sell, you can do that. They have flexible fees.
They also have people that they represent that are looking to buy a home, so maybe they can make that perfect connection within the Stern team.
So don't put off selling your house or buying a house because you think the market isn't just right. The market is right with the Stern team.
Go online to sternteam.com or just Google the Stern team.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. The medical helicopter landed just 150 feet from the accident. The rural first responders had done all they could, but the urgency of the situation demanded greater expertise. So the A-team arrived. They calmly walked to the patient. They asked questions. They seamlessly provided care, then loaded and transported the critical patient. All in a day's work. Just one of 3 light calls that day. Teams that excel at critical situations teach us more about how to build our best work teams than the sports teams we watch and enjoy. The real world and real-time problem solving is more of a model than the plays and the points scored in a football or basketball game. Learn more about what makes a great work team in an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. Inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. Over the years, I've talked a lot about hard water takes years off the life of water heaters and other appliances in your home. Leaves scum on the shower walls, and you almost need a jackhammer to remove that. I've talked about how Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer, their water softeners are maintenance-free. You just don't need adjustment, and they do the job with 2/3 less salt than other softeners. But today, I want to talk about the exhilarating feeling of stepping into a hot bath or shower and feeling that pure, soft water cascade over your skin. It feels like every pore in your body wants to stand up and start singing. And afterward, there are no itchy hard water deposits sticking all over you. You really should look into a soft water system from Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. You can learn more about Connecticut by giving them a call at 801-576-8600 or log on to Softwater Utah. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. Then sit back and enjoy your shower even more.
Dave and Dujanovic. Priced out. Housing. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, we're grateful for the Stern team, and once again, they're on standby to walk us through what interest rates will do in their view over the next several months. I think a lot of people are not selling their homes right now. We've talked to people. Dave, you've been one of them. He said, I'm not selling because my mortgage interest rate is so doggone cheap. And if I had to go get another mortgage right now, I don't want to pay 6 or 7%.
So that being the case, you described it perfectly. How long am I going to be in my home? Because I'm 48 years old. Could I be there for another 30 or 40 years without ever rotating out of my house? Because that's kind of what the goal is, or was in the past. You buy a starter home, then you upgrade, then you upgrade, then you upgrade. How many homes do you typically own?
Let's get Russell Fawcett with the Stern team. Good morning, Russell.
Good morning.
So how long is Dave going to be stuck in his starter home?
It really depends on your situation, right? I mean, sometimes it's 2 to 3 years, and some people are there 10 to 15 years.
Well, he's past that, so his time is expired. So talk to us about where interest rates are going, because I know Dave well enough that a lot of his decisions are hinging on where the interest rates are going, and if they're going to hover around 7% or more over the next couple of years, he's probably going to be staying put.
Yeah, so honestly, we don't expect to see very much shift in the interest rate this year. There's a lot that goes into play, as far as what a mortgage rate is going to be, but one of the big factors is what the Fed is doing. And they're actually meeting today. We would expect today that they're going to hold. They've been holding. The last time they did raise the interest rate was back in July. And to give a little perspective, it is projected, we hear that interest rates are coming down. It is said that they're likely to lower interest rates probably 3 times this year, each time by 0.25% or 25 basis points. So throughout the entire year, we might see movement of about 0.75% from the Feds. And a little bit of perspective behind that. So from 2022, March of 2022 and 2023, we saw them raise interest rates 11 times. And 4 of those times they raised them by 0.75 point or 75 basis points. And so really a lowering of 75 basis points or 0.75% interest rate really isn't going to do a lot to what we're seeing in the mortgage rates, especially because we see mortgages typically adjust prior to the news as opposed to after. Okay. And then, so it'll adjust this year. We do expect it to come down a little bit, but I wouldn't expect that we're going to see anything in the low 5s or 4s.
You may not know exactly. I'm just going to kind of throw this at you, but what is typical? How many homes do people own over a lifetime? Is it 1 or 2, or is it 4, 5, 6?
Don't ask me.
Yeah,
Deb's
so
I'm on the high end.
I'm going to talk more averages. Your typical homeowner will sell their home or buy a home about every 7 to 10 years. And so if you look at that, typically it's 3 to 4, but it really depends on, when they get in the game. If someone's starting to buy in their early 20s, they might end up in a lot more homes, where we're seeing, the average first-time home buyer right now is in their mid to late 30s. And so that person might only be 1 or 2 homes that they buy in their lifetime.
Interesting. We're with the Stern team, Russell Fawcett, right now. He's live on the line with us. We're talking about interest rates. Lots of people having questions about where interest rates are going to go. What is a typical mortgage interest rate now for a 30-year fixed? What's that sitting at, Russell? Do you happen to know?
Yeah, so a lot of that really depends on someone's credit, how much they're going to put down, what loan program they're going to go into. So just on a range, high 6s to low 7s right now is what someone could expect. Again, depending on circumstances, we've seen them lower if people buy down a rate. And if someone's, going into a different program that maybe they have less favorable credit or less down, they could be in the higher 7s, or if they're an investor, 7-8%.
Russell Fawcett, thank you for joining us from the Stern teams. You can learn your true value in just 30 seconds. All you have to do is go to their website, visit sternteam.com to find out more.
It's your home's true value.
Your home's true, what did I say?
Your true value, I think.
You as a person, what is your true value? You know what, Debbie? You're invaluable. Your home, we can put a price on.
I think you should do that, Dave. I think you should go to the sternteam.com and figure out what your home's true value is.
And it's going to say you're good enough, you're smart enough, And doggone it, people like you.
Do you feel a little bit stuck in your starter home? Because, and I don't want to say a lot of it, because I would feel a lot of it, but I don't want to make you feel bad because interest rates are where they are.
Hey, in your super lame starter home, Dave.
You always talk about you don't have any lights in the living room. Like they were allergic to lights when they built the house. So you've got the...
Hey, but I've got some 1970s siding that is super sharp.
I had you out at my house a couple of weeks ago. It's a little newer. It's not brand new, but I could tell you were snooping around the back area. You're trying to figure out how you could get yourself into a townhome.
Is that shiplap? I love shiplap.
It's shiplap on the wall. You come over this weekend. You and Charlene can help me paint it. Straight ahead, Boyd Matheson with us. The president said he's going to make a decision on how to respond to that drone strike in Jordan. What's Boyd know about that?
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Police in Tooele have released the name of the man who died after falling through the ice at Settlement Canyon Reservoir earlier this week. It was 20-year-old Emaloni Lutui, who lived in Taylorsville. A woman who also fell through the ice was rescued and taken to the hospital. The irrigation company that owns Settlement Canyon has now closed off public access. We're hearing from the sponsor of a controversial bill for the first time since Governor Cox signed it into law. Representative Kira Birkeland says she doesn't want to criminalize a person for using a bathroom that doesn't match their birth certificate. What she wants to do is penalize people for loitering or being lewd or creepy.
If you behave in that kind of behavior in that bathroom and you're in a restroom that doesn't correspond with your sex at birth, then you could be criminally prosecuted.
Birkeland believes the bill shouldn't negatively impact future Utah events like the Olympics because the games were held in China, which has much more severe restrictions. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Senate Judiciary Committee is hearing from the CEOs of 5 major social media companies about what can be done to protect kids online. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina says while social media is everywhere, it needs to be regulated.
I use it. We all use it. There's an upside to everything here, but the dark side hasn't been dealt with. It's now time to deal with the dark side because people have taken your idea and they've turned it into a nightmare for the American people.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg told the committee there are no studies that show social media causes permanent harm to young people. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is up on the day 39 points. The NASDAQ, though, has been sliding, and it's down 199 points right now. And our KSL weather looks like the sunny skies we've enjoyed are going to go away when the storm moves in later. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
The Utah Department of Health and Human Services wants to make sure people in Utah have the opportunity to live safe and healthy lives. To do that, they need to understand what services individuals can access in their communities and what barriers they face to accessing services where they live. For this survey, they want to hear from the Utah community, specifically people over 60, adults with disabilities of any kind, caregivers or people that support an older person or adult with a disability, service providers who provide support to older adults or adults with disabilities. They need as many people as possible to take this survey so they can better understand where the gaps are and where improvement is needed. The results of this survey will be delivered to the Division of Aging and Adult Services so they can better meet the needs of people across the state of Utah. To participate in this survey, please go to utahcommunitysurvey.com. All information will remain anonymous and secure. You can also take the survey by phone by calling 800-293-1538, extension 1610.
It's the dead of winter, and our friends at Advanced Window Products have a wonderful wintertime offer. This is Jeff Kaplan. If the cold is seeping into your house right now, Nate and Jake will give you $2,500 off on double-pane windows and the highest quality custom frames built right here in Utah. Any style, any color, and the 2500 is atop their already low prices. See, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. At Advanced Window Products, they offer 0% financing. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage in the dead of winter while the wind is whistling and give your home, your number one asset, a fresh new look. Plus, you save money on heating and air conditioning, so much so the energy companies offer rebates. Buy local. Their factory's right here in Salt Lake City. Save an extra $2,500 off the best windows and frames in Utah. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100 or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Are you one of those people?
Those people.
You know, self-driven, confident, love sales and understanding marketing. Would you like to work with a variety of businesses, large and small, helping them succeed? Do you want to actually make the kind of money you know you should make? Are you looking for a career with an opportunity to grow?
Well, we're looking for those people.
Bonneville Salt Lake Media Group is looking for account executives from a variety of backgrounds and experience levels to connect with high potential business opportunities for digital marketing. KSL Podcasts, KSL News Radio, 103.5 The Era, FM 100.3, and 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. It's advertising sales that will change your world. Not to mention the world-class list of benefits we're famous for. You'll work in person and remotely in a dynamic team culture with opportunities to reach audiences both locally and globally. If this is the kind of work that interests you, text careers to 57500. That's careers to 57500. Text careers to 57500.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds on all the Valley freeways. However, a crash has closed the ramp from eastbound on the 21st South Freeway to go southbound on I-215's West Belt. You will need to use an alternate. Lagoon is looking for ride maintenance technicians. Lagoon offers excellent mechanical training programs with amazing career opportunities. Ride maintenance technician position is full-time and year-round. Details, visit lagoonpark.com/jobs. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, warm today, highs in the 50s, possibly 60 in some areas of the Wasatch Front. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll see storms, possibly snow and rain move in. Rain again likely on Friday with much cooler temperatures. Right now, we're at 45 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
President Biden has made a decision on how he will respond after a drone strike by Iran-backed forces killed three United States troops in Jordan. And these three individuals were, two of them were in their 20s. One was a sergeant. He was in his 40s. They were all based out of the state of Georgia. I say the state of Georgia because I don't want to get anybody confused on what I'm talking about. And they were Army reservists.
And I think part of what is unsatisfying to us is we want retribution, and we want it now. We want to know exactly what's going to happen. Understanding that that's not always the best time, for it when everybody's prepared. So there's some military strategy going on here, but I do want to see something. We have to respond as a nation. And the fact that we haven't so far, that is very unsatisfying.
So before we get Boyd to give us his perspective on what President Biden is thinking, when will it happen? John Gramble with the Associated Press says that United States forces may have mistaken an enemy drone. Is this making sense?
Oh, in their assessment as to how this drone actually penetrated
and got into this
I
area
see.
where it could take out these American soldiers was mistaken as potentially an American drone
So it
coming
was
back.
able to slip through. Okay.
This enemy drone may have been able to strike the base because they were expecting another American drone to come in and land at the same time. The air defenses got confused and didn't open fire, mistaking that enemy drone for the American one. Now, this attack targeted a base called Tower 22, which is on the Jordanian-Syrian border. It supplies special operation forces and others who are in Syria as part of their America's anti-Islamic State fight.
Now, Boyd, this wasn't just the three people that lost their life. 34 troops were injured in this attack. 8 had to be flown out of Jordan for follow-up care. So is retaliation the right word?
Well, I think the response is an interesting thing. And, Debbie, I appreciate that we started with the fact that we had loss of American life. I think that's really important, and I think we need to name them. There are 3 new Gold Star families in this country, and that matters. So Kennedy Sanders, who was just 24, William Rivers, who was 46, and Breonna Moffett, who was just 23. I think that matters, and we need to know that this Tower 22, this base, the reason we have American troops there, this is a multinational force, and their mission is to make sure that the terrorist group ISIS does not reconstitute itself and is able to then carry out attacks all over the world. We've sort of kind of put ISIS on the back burner because they haven't been front and center since Afghanistan and since 9/11. But this is what these terrorist groups do. They go underground, they recalibrate, they reconstitute, they get recruits going, they get funded, usually by Iran, and then they come back. And so this is a very important mission for all of us. It's keeping all of us safe. And so our hearts go out to those Gold Star families. I think that's an important part of the conversation. And now to what is the response? I think there's 2 things that are always the tug and pull of this. I think we all have that memory of when we were a kid and something went wrong and our mother said, don't stand there, do something. And often when it comes to international incidents, you have to reverse that. Don't do something, stand there for a minute and really think it through so that you're doing the right thing in the right way. So clearly the president has made a decision in terms of doing something. And it will be taking out targets, most likely in Iraq and Syria. There'll be, munitions or places where they can have supply lines going or where they can launch attacks from. And so that is going to happen. That's the easy part of it. To me, the more important question is not what is the retaliation, but what is the policy moving forward, particularly relating to Iran, because that's who's funding this. And Iran's going to say, well, we don't manage their day-to-day operations. Their day-to-day operations can't happen without Iran. And so I think the question for the Biden administration is not what stick are you going to swing. It's kind of a whack-a-mole kind of thing. What's the policy change going to be? Because what the administration has allowed is $100 billion of oil to be sold, and those profits go to these proxy fighters. So what Iran's trying to do is to try to nudge the United States influence out of the region. They're trying to control the flow of energy. They're trying to control the flow of commerce on the Red Sea. So you're seeing all of these attacks on not just on U.S. ships, but on just cargo ships going through. And so to me, the bigger question, the long-term question that will prevent us having these kinds of conversations again is what is the policy, particularly as it relates to Iran?
Iran has for so long done this. This is not a secret. Everybody knows that Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, they are funded. And this is where the attacks are coming from. It's these militia groups that kind of ebb and flow and grow in power and strength, but the funding to actually be able to buy the bombs and the weapons. And we saw this in Gaza. Gaza has taken so much aid, and Hamas has used it to buy weapons. Yeah. And we're just not addressing it. But my concern, Boyd, is this is not the first time Iran has been sanctioned. And we have sanctioned that country for decades and have put the screws to them for so long. And has it done any good?
Well, you have to look at how we do that. So often we hear about sanctions. Sometimes those go to very targeted groups. We know we had trillions of dollars of assets that were unfrozen just about a year ago by the Biden administration. We had lots of conversations about that, saying, oh, well, this is just going to go for humanitarian aid. And we know that's just not how the game is played over there. And so to me, you have to look at it in terms of what is the end game, the end goal. And if we're really trying to establish security and stability, Iran is not part of that equation. And so everything, whether it's dealing with Hamas and Hezbollah, those groups, they only exist when there is the chaos that you just described. It's part of the reason why the whole October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel happened. Why did it happen? Because Israel and the Saudis were getting very close to serious conversations about a two-state solution, which would create some stability in the region. And Hamas doesn't exist if Gaza is ruled by the Palestinians and there's peace on the border with Israel. It just doesn't happen. And so the incentives are all backwards. And so we have to be very careful of which whack-a-mole we're swinging at, because we got to get back to the real essence of the issue.
Because the bigger problem was not with Hamas in Gaza. The bigger problem was Iran worried about Israel and the Saudis normalizing relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And so what do they want to do? They want to stir that up. And so what do they fund terrorist organizations. And that's exactly what we saw play out. And sadly, this loss of life, again, 40 service members injured in that. 8 of them, as you said, flown out with very serious injuries. And so that's a big piece of it. So the retaliation from the president will come, and it will be specific. It will be targeted. But that, to me, that's the swinging at the wrong thing. We got to figure out what's the right policy answer that's going to get some stability in the region.
Both. Well, Boyd, a lot to think about. Thank you for joining us. Inside Sources today starts at 1. Look forward to that.
Thanks, Boyd. Governor Spencer Cox signed a controversial bill. It would force transgender people to use public bathrooms that align with their gender that is listed on their birth certificates. Straight ahead, if you missed our 9 a.m., 9:35 a.m. conversation with Representative Kara Birkeland, who's the chief sponsor of that legislation, you're going to hear it next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
You'd probably love some Utah Jazz tickets. Am I right?
Through traffic all the way to the finish line and let it up and in.
KSL wants you to go see the Jazz Sixers game. Listen to Tim and Amanda Wednesday and Thursday morning for your chance to win. Primo Jazz tickets Wednesday and Thursday on Utah's Morning News on KSL News Radio.
This Monday Tax Tip is brought to you by Susan Spears, CEO of the Utah Association of CPAs.
You can claim the child tax credit for each qualifying child with a valid Social Security number if the dependent is under 17 at the end of the year, earns less than 50% of their support, has lived with you for more than half the year, is a U.S. citizen, is properly claimed as a dependent on your tax return, are not filing a joint return with their spouse, or passes the relationship test. Talk to your CPA on that one. You may claim the child tax credit if you meet the eligibility factors and your income falls within threshold limits. Your CPA can help you determine if you are eligible for partial child tax credit.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a CPA. Go to uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. That's uacpa.org. Listen to KSL on Monday for more tax tips from the Utah Association of CPAs.
Would you like to be part of an important research study and receive up to $550? The Beehive study at the University of Utah is comparing how well 2 different FDA-authorized booster vaccines protect people against COVID-19. You can decide to get a booster or not and still participate. By joining the Beehive study, you'll have the chance to receive up to $550 for completing activities such as weekly COVID tests and brief surveys about your health. Call 801-203-0320 or email beehivestudy@utah.edu to learn more. You can also visit the study website at www.beehivestudy.com.
Jeff Kaplan here. Every once in a while I do my show from home, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell. I'm on KSL and sending video to the internet all at the same time because I have Xfinity Wi-Fi. It's pretty amazing because at the same time my wife's streaming a movie, grandkids come over, one's watching YouTube, 2 are playing Minecraft, and others watching a flick, all while Grandma says, shh, Papa's on the air. We run all these devices, and I do a show thanks to my reliable, fast connection. Xfinity Wi-Fi is a game changer. Get wall-to-wall Wi-Fi on the Xfinity 10G network for a reliable connection throughout your home. Now through March 21st, new customers can get started with 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
It's the Boat Show, February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Save $2 at UtahBoatShow.com.
The Boat Show, fun for the whole family.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life. So don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt! Yeah!
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, police have released the name of the man who died after falling through the ice at Settlement Canyon Reservoir in Tooele. Amaloni Latui was 20 years old. Second, Ogden firefighters rescued two people from the hot pots in Ogden Canyon yesterday. And third, executives from some of the biggest tech companies were answering questions in a Senate committee about whether social media harms young people. Right now, 45 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's the headline that just crossed in the New York Times this morning. Actually, as Dave and I were having a live conversation with Representative Kara Berkland, who is one of the chief sponsors of this legislation. And the headline reads, Utah sets restrictions on transgender people's bathroom use. It goes on to say Utah will prohibit transgender people from using bathrooms in public schools and government-owned buildings that align with their gender identity after Governor Spencer Cox signed a bill on Tuesday imposing the restrictions.
There's a couple of different things that stand out to me with this bill, and we talked to the bill sponsor, Representative Kara Berkland. We're going to play some of that interview during this segment, Debbie. But number one, the bathroom situation is a little strange to me in the sense that I don't really see it as a problem. If you're a trans woman or a trans male, then if you're using the bathroom, you're going into a stall, there's total privacy there. I don't really see the problem there. In fact, if you're requiring a trans male to go to a female locker room, that would be far more uncomfortable than just going to the bathroom where you identify. Where it changes a little bit for me or a lot for me, is in the dressing rooms, the locker rooms, the showers. And I will say this, I think the way we have our locker rooms and shower situations set up right now is medieval. Whether it's in schools or rec centers, there is no privacy. Nobody's comfortable changing there. I have no idea why there isn't more privacy in general, and why it's just wide open and everyone just has to be fine with changing, and being in the nude. That doesn't make any sense to me. So the idea that we're trying to increase privacy in these areas, I think is better for everybody.
Okay, but how possible is it? I mean, you just actually ban it, right? You ban people from walking in what you now would consider the wrong changing room or the wrong. But overall, to your point, we've all worked out probably at a rec center. I was thinking about my own school growing up when you were bringing up the locker room. There was zero privacy.
None.
It was all just one big open area.
Group showers.
With lockers, group showers, and bathrooms, and sinks. So even if you're going in to wash your hands, you had to walk through the shower area to the back of the whole entire locker room just to wash your hands after you played, softball or whatever, So Representative Kara Birkeland spent a significant part of our 9 o'clock hour with us on the air explaining to us what this will mean now that it's been signed into law. Like what it'll look like out here, because this could impact any government-owned building. So you're talking about courthouses. You're talking about airports. We're talking about, yes, schools. We've talked about that. Anything that's owned by the government, this is impacting. And she told us live on the air this morning that it does not criminalize a person for using the wrong bathroom unless that person misuses it.
That's why the bill defines man and a woman, and based upon that, their sex at birth. However, it does not criminalize a person for just using the wrong facility based upon wrong meaning, sex at birth. For a lot of those individuals, nothing's really going to change for them with this legislation. They will continue to use unisex bathrooms. We're going to create more accessibility to unisex bathrooms. But if you are, for your argument's sake, if you are a transgender man, no one is going to stop you or make a big deal or know if you're going to go in and use the bathroom and use it for its proper purpose. Walk into the men's room, use the bathroom, walk out. Nothing will happen. However, if you do something inappropriate, if you're loitering, if you're lewd, if you're all around creepy, which is what we were tasked to put into this bill by advocates of the LGBTQ community, is defining creepy. If you behave in that kind of behavior in that bathroom and you're in a restroom that doesn't correspond with your sex at birth, then you could be criminally prosecuted. But it's only at the time that you do something that is inappropriate for the use of the bathroom.
Her argument is that this bill really only takes effect if somebody is being, as she said, creepy, if they are loitering or if they're showing lewdness. There are already laws in place to prevent loitering and lewdness. So does this just clarify, perhaps?
Also learning, I read the legislation first thing this morning again to make sure I was up on the latest draft of it, which is now law, but and also the New York Times points this out as well in their article, that the state auditor would be tasked, Dave, or will be tasked with keeping track of reports or violations. So it seems as though there will be warehousing reports of any violations of this law. So maybe in a year or two, we can go back and see if there's some sort of an issue with this at all. I know people who have opposed this bill have raised that question. Is there an issue to begin with? Is it
going to end up on some sort of list?
Yeah.
Could it possibly end up on a sex offenders registry?
These are lots of questions that remain unanswered. And she did answer the question, to your point, about locker rooms. Again, Representative Kara Birkeland, the chief sponsor of the transgender bathroom bill that got signed last night by the governor.
So the locker rooms and showers and dressing rooms, it is based upon biological sex. I have a constituent in 2022 that has an 8-year-old daughter. She came out of the bathroom toilet facility into the open dressing room to a fully naked man. Nothing could be done. Law enforcement could not do anything about this 8-year-old girl seeing a naked man in the women's bathroom that was in conjunction with the changing room based upon our current laws. And with this law that was just passed and signed, it would not be legal for a man to just enter the women's facilities and to show their privates or anything. You cannot do that in Utah now. If a male is transitioning to female, he cannot be in the women's facility unless he has had complete bottom surgery. And even then, at that time, that individual would have to keep their privates covered because not all bottom surgery is equal. And so That's the rule with this law.
And again, that clarifies the law in general. Kind of to my point earlier, I don't have any problem with privacy in general. Asking everyone, regardless of where they're at and transitioning, male or female. I remember being a child in the locker room when my dad would take me to the gym. I was supremely uncomfortable being in the locker room with. My dad was a professional baseball player, so he was very comfortable about being in locker rooms and everyone being in the nude. As a child, I remember even in a male locker room, I was just uncomfortable because everybody is just so vulnerable.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. And your dad playing in the MLB, that makes sense. He was in a lot of locker rooms. I want to get to this, Dave, but we're so tight on time. But I think this is a really important question that we wanted to get to because we know we are vying for the 2034 Olympics. We know we're vying for an NHL team, an MLB team as well to Utah. We asked her, does she think this legislation could hurt our chances?
I don't, especially with the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics have been in China. They are the worst human rights in the world. They have the most violations of anyone in the world, and they went there. So I don't see them being concerned that Utah wants to create privacy and safety for all people in our state. As far as hockey or baseball, I think the bill it walks that fine line of respecting individuals while ensuring at the end of the day we have privacy and respect and grace has to go everywhere. It has to be applied to
That was Representative Kara Birkeland, who sponsored the bill that just passed.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. The Let Utah Vote Coalition strongly opposed to a proposed legislative resolution that they say will make it harder to pass any ballot initiative. A resolution sponsored by Representative Jason Kyle and Senator Lincoln Fillmore would make it so 60% of Utah voters would have to vote yes on a ballot initiative for it to become law.
I do not know of any initiative that has ever passed by 60%. There may be some, but this threshold is so difficult.
That's former Utah legislator Cheryl Allen. She says this resolution would severely limit the voice of Utah citizens. The Ogden Fire Department hoisted 2 people out of Ogden Canyon's thermal springs last night. A couple of separate incidents there. The road was closed for an hour as emergency responders tried to get a person out last night. The Weber County Sheriff's Office is reminding the public that the hot pots are on private property and entering them puts you at risk of trespassing. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. House Speaker Mike Johnson gave his first floor speech on the crisis at the U.S. border with Mexico. Johnson said the bipartisan bill under negotiation in the Senate will not go far enough to resolve the crisis.
Does not include, from what we've heard, these transformational policy changes that are needed to actually stop the border catastrophe.
Additional aid to Ukraine and Israel has also been tied to passage of the bill. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average, about even on the day, up less than 1 point. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, has been sliding through the morning, down 188 points right now. And our KSL weather, it'll be nice today, nice tomorrow, and then the storm shows up. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
I've talked about my problems about not having enough lighting in my house. Debbie has that same problem, but in her garage.
That's right. It's terrible. I had one light bulb, these 12-foot ceilings, and it just blew out.
Here's a 60-watt light bulb.
I can't see anything. Thank goodness for Master Electrical, because we all have situations in our homes, whether our homes are recently built or like, oh, we wish we would have had a light there, or we're living in a 1960s home where they just didn't really believe in.
They didn't believe in it.
They didn't
It's a
believe
good way
in
to put
good
it.
lighting. Master Electrical has upfront pricing. So I think you're really going to love this. Is when they get to your house, they're going to give you a bid up front, and that is the price you're going to pay when the job is done.
And if you're concerned about an upcharge, don't worry. Their pricing system simply won't allow it.
Thankfully, Master Electrical will do everything from lights to ceiling fans. If you need work on your smoke detectors, generators, you need an EV charger installed, give Master Electrical a call.
Yeah, they serve from Logan to Santaquin, including emergency services. So if you have something that pops up in the middle of the night, you need them to swoop in and save you, they got you.
All right, write this down if you can. 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222. And they also have a website, makes it easy.
Yeah, it's at masterelectrical.com.
Valentine's Day is here. This year, give the ultimate gift. Name a star after your sweetheart. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For 45 years, we've named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can give the most memorable gift. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
At this time of year, isn't it great to have something to look forward to? There's something about January and February. You've just got to have that thing on the calendar you're so looking forward to. Might I recommend dinner at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse? Let's talk about Hotel Park City. That's where you're going to find Ruth's Chris Steakhouse up in Summit County. After a day of skiing, it is the perfect way to wrap up that perfect day at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And then, of course, right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, we have a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse here as well, right in the middle of all the action. So whether it's a play, a ball game, whatever it might be, that delicious dinner, it's waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Plus, it's only fair to remind you that Valentine's Day now is just around the corner, and your sweetheart is going to love that amazing meal. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, 275 Southwest Temple, and also Hotel Park City. The meal you're waiting for, it's waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, win tickets to the Utah Sportsman's Vacation and RV Show, February 15th through the 18th. Or win tickets to the Crossroads of the West Gun Show, February 10th and 11th in Sandy. Plus, win tickets to see the Utah Symphony perform Prokofyev's Violin Concerto, February 2nd and 3rd at Abravanel Hall. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
The crash has been cleared and that ramp is now open, going from eastbound on the 21st South Freeway to join southbound I-215's West Belt, a delay-free drive. Just a reminder for South Jordan drivers, remember the Parkway 104th South is closed near 3200 West for water main repair work, and that's going to continue into tomorrow. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, warm today, highs in the 50s, possibly 60 in some areas of the Wasatch Front. And we're doing well today on air quality as well. Most reporting stations on the Wasatch Front in the green right now. But rain is likely on Friday with much cooler temperatures. And right now we're at 52 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio. Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Getting tougher on DUIs. A minimum prison term of 5 years for someone who drives DUI in Utah, and that decision kills somebody. Utah lawmakers, they look poised to push this, I'll call it a prison sentence guarantee through the state legislature and get it to the governor's desk.
And what this does is it removes a lot of the discretion that judges have in sentencing. And if you think, they don't need any discretion, it should be absolutely 5 years minimum. Well, let me give you an example. What if a man is driving under the influence and he has one of his children or perhaps his spouse with him, and he crashes, the wife dies. Now, do you put that man in jail for 5 years and these children have no parent around to care for them? Is that the right solution? I think that is kind of the tough decision and practical solution we need to look at and say, because that's what we're doing if we're removing the discretion from the judge's hands.
But let me tell you a different perspective. Let me tell you from Eli Mitchell's family's perspective. They've done a lot of work to get this bill to where it is right now on Capitol Hill. We're going to speak to Eli's grandpa in just a second. Eli was 13. He's in a crosswalk in West Jordan, run over by a drunk driver. Now, if this passes, this won't help keep the man who hit and killed Eli behind bars for a minimum of 5 years. He could be out in less than that based on the sentence that he got. But Eli's dad has been telling lawmakers, went up to Capitol Hill to tell them this, and also told KSL5 television. He's doing it for the next family.
In my opinion, what occurred there is murder, and murder should have a stiffer sentence for doing that to someone's innocent family.
Glendon Mitchell, grandpa to Eli Mitchell, we're so sorry for Eli's death. This has just been horrible for the whole community, Glendon.
And thanks, Dave and Debbie, for letting me join you. And thank you for your kindness.
What's your experience been like through this process? And I'm speaking more to the sentencing aspect of it, of once the man that hit Eli was put away.
A challenge that all victims face. It's not unique to us. And hopefully the message is broader than just the Mitchell incident. That would be our family's request. But the judge renders their decision, and you walk out of court with a lot of uncertainty. So you hear 1 to 15. There was a consecutive sentence in our case, 0 to 5. So in your mind, a victim's thinking, well, 1 to 20 years, what does that mean? Is that 2, 3, 10, 15? And then shortly thereafter, we learn that there's a possibility that we'll be going to a parole board hearing. And I don't think that's the only problem, by the way, but I don't have words to describe the trauma and emotions that re-victimizes people with, again, not understanding the Board of Parole processes and hearing that, oh my gosh, we're going to have to go through all this again. So we just heard from the judge at least 1 to 15 years, not knowing what that means. And now we're already going to a parole board hearing.
Yeah, they do have parole hearings in pretty short order once somebody is sent to prison. So, Glendon, I feel you on this. I feel like it re-traumatizes families like yours really quickly, right after you got through the whole court process.
We just barely got through court. Yeah, there's just not words to describe that whole experience. So, and we hear that over and over. We've become our families become a little bit of a lightning rod for victims, and sadly, many of them suffer in silence. We've chosen not to do that. And so, thanks for the conversation, and we appreciate that there's not everyone who agrees.
So a minimum of 5 years. What would that mean? I know it won't impact your family. This law, unlikely, would be retroactive, but it it would impact families going forward who lose a loved one to a drunk driver. What would that mean for them if there was a minimum sentence of 5 years?
That allows some time for certainty. And I don't think an appropriate word is healing, but at least you have some time as victims to settle into this new life that you haven't chosen for yourself. You have a loved one that was violently killed, innocent loved one, and it at least allows some time to gather and to start progressing and becoming, frankly, functional again. So.
I gave a hypothetical, a scenario, and I'm interested to get your take on this, where sometimes we want to crack down so harshly, but a judge does have discretion typically. And if a father is driving with his wife and he's DUI, she passes away in the crash, and you have a mandatory 5-year sentence for that father, taking him away from the children as well, is that a scenario where a judge's discretion might be beneficial?
And Dave, I think that's a really good example. So I've talked with defense attorneys. I've talked with prosecutors. I can't speak for Representative Stoddard. I've only spoke for myself. And what the prosecutors are telling us is that prosecutors, defense attorneys, and victims have other choices. If there essentially is a plea deal, if you will, extenuating circumstances, and the parties agree to not proceed with second-degree auto homicide, it could go to a DUI. And I actually know of 2 cases where that exactly happened.
So there is a little bit more discretion before the trial.
Yes, that's what prosecutors have told us. And I'm not at liberty to speak for that victim, but I know right now of a victim who was in that circumstance. And the driver that killed the individual was not charged with auto homicide.
And so if they're not charged with that auto homicide, they're charged with what would be considered a lesser crime, then this minimum mandatory of 5 years would not apply.
Correct. I'm not advocating that's a good or bad decision.
Right, you're just explaining
the prosecutors have offered that up, and like I say, unfortunately, from that victim's perspective, the victim wasn't on board, but that's what happened. So.
Glendon, before we let you go, does it feel like this bill that, obviously your family has gone through a lot and advocated for, does it feel as though you have the support of the legislature to get this done and get this through?
Thanks, Debbie, for asking that. Yeah, we believe that's the case. I've talked with other legislators. Interestingly enough, we are hearing, and you could predict this since we're victims, we're hearing the opposite sides from the community, and people aren't challenging or condemning us, but we're hearing, why are you only asking for 5 years? Why aren't you asking for 10, to be honest with you? We believe there was a lot of discussion through the summer. We believe 5 years is reasonable. That will be up to the legislature to decide. But.
Well, thank you for joining us. Glendon Mitchell is the grandfather of Eli Mitchell, who was killed in crossing in West Jordan in a crosswalk. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks, Glendon. We appreciate you. Straight ahead, I want to get into this, the ice situation that we've got on lakes across Utah. We just had a tragedy happen the other night where a 20-year-old man fell through the ice at Settlement Canyon Reservoir in Tooele County. They've since closed that reservoir. But this is a problem all across the state, folks. And I saw a graphic last night that the state parks department put up on Facebook. You would be shocked. To me, I was just shocked at how thin the ice has to be, like, for you to fall through. So if you're trying to snowmobile on it, or you're snowshoeing on it with a group of friends, you're hitting the lakes or you're hitting the, communities over the next, couple of weeks to make sure you get out and winter recreate, that have lakes on them, you got to listen to what you're about to find out next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Join KSL on the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, mpsstore.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but I'm so glad I did. I was paying way too much for cable. I wasn't finding the shows I wanted, and the prices kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. I get to see all my favorite stuff in one spot, anytime I want, anywhere I want, for just $25 a month. Plus, Philo's got unlimited DVR, so I never have to miss anything. It really is the best deal in TV. Try it out for yourself. Go to philo.tv. That's philo.tv. And start your 7-day free trial now.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since 1914, Utah Paper Box has been a staple in the Salt Lake Valley. Over the years, this packaging factory has learned how to provide its services from design, pre-press, and printing to die cutting, stamping, and finishing in an eco-friendlier way. CEO Steve Kaiser tells us more.
At Utah Paper Box, our mission is to be a valuable resource for our customers through creative and innovative packaging, and also a responsible steward of our environment, community, and employees. We pride ourselves on being a small business that can provide high-quality, eye-catching, custom packaging for both small local startups and large national brands such as Smith Optics and Casper's Ice Cream. What's more, we have committed to doing so sustainably. At Utah Paper Box, sustainability is one of our 6 core values. We have worked hard to become a sustainable and eco-friendly company and are proud to be a leader in our industry for environmental causes. We source from sustainable forest and divert 90% of our waste from landfills. Our headquarters is LEED Gold certified, and 20% of the power comes from solar energy. Not only that, but our first electric semi-truck is arriving this fall, first of its kind in the state. Come check us out at upbslc.com.
Utah Paper Box is committed to exceeding customer expectations, providing top quality paper products, and caring about our environment. See what this local packaging supplier can do for you. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a group that wants to make it easier to pass ballot initiatives in Utah, working against a bill that they say would make it harder. Second, the Utah Jazz getting on the Stanley Cup bandwagon with a promotion to distribute the popular tumblers at the Delta Center. And third, even if a bipartisan immigration bill passes the Senate, it might have a hard time getting through the House. Right now, 52 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Boy, I tell you, there's something about when somebody falls through the ice in Utah, when either they're walking across the ice or they're, in this case, the 20-year-old man who lost his own life trying to save a woman in Settlement Canyon a couple of nights ago, falling through the ice. My whole body just wells up with anxiety. And I think in large part this is because I covered just a horrendous, horrific, worst nightmare tragedy many years ago as a television news reporter up north of a lake, Dave. There was a lake, and it was a much colder winter than we're having right now. And two little boys, I would say little, but they were probably like 7, 8 years old, that range. They had decided to take a shortcut home across the lake. And to look at the lake, when I got there to cover this tragedy, it looked thick enough. But by the time they got to the middle of it, it was not. And they lost their lives on the lake that day when the ice broke free and they went in, and they could not save themselves, and there was nobody there to save them. So this is an emotional one for me. And as I look at the Utah State Parks graphic that they put together, you could be on 3 inches of ice, standing on it by yourself. 3 inches, it still gives way. If it's 4 inches and you have gear on, that still could be an issue. And then you start talking about people who go up and snowmobile on lakes that are iced over. And you have that graphic pulled up too, Dave. And you start snowmobiling multiple snowmobiles. You start throwing lots of snowmobiles on the ice with people on them. And that ice could easily give way if it's not several inches thick.
And I think that's where we have to be very, very aware of, number one, how thick it is. Because just because it's thick here doesn't mean it's uniformly thick across the entire body of water.
Well, it's hardly thick at all, because right now, at least along the Wasatch Front, Devin Chavez with Utah State Parks, we have 53-degree weather yesterday. I was walking around the lake out by my house, and there was I could see right through the little tiny sheets of ice. We are warming up so much the last couple of days, and today it might even hit 60 in some parts of the valley, that I think ice dangers are extreme right now.
And that's exactly it, is that with these warming temperatures across the state, not only at Utah State Parks, we're seeing a lot of our reservoirs that would traditionally be iced over this time of year, they're pretty well open.
Ice fishing specifically here in Utah is so incredibly popular. What do you say to the ice fishermen?
I would say that checking current conditions before you go out, the day of, not the night before, not 2 nights before, go ahead and do that. But right before you head out, checking for updated ice conditions is paramount. Not only is it a big portion of your safety, but if an ice fishing tournament's been canceled, it saves you from driving all the way there and finding some disappointment once you get there to learn it's not been, continued forward.
Devin, I spent many years snowmobiling up in the Uintas, and we went all over the place, thankfully, always safely. I'm talking 20, 25 years of this, but I'm looking at this chart, this ice safety guide that the Utah State Parks puts out. We will make sure we get this loaded to our KSL News Radio Facebook page, because it needs to be shared over and over and over again. For multiple snowmobiles on a lake area, they need at least 9 inches of ice. That's at least 9 inches of ice. I'm not sure a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, it's at the very least 9 inches of ice, especially if you're having those multiple snowmobiles. And then it's important to remember, exactly like you and Dave had said, that just because it's 9 inches, 10 inches, 15 inches in one place, it could be very well different a couple feet away. recently at East Canyon State Park, people can go look at East Canyon's Facebook page, but we drilled some holes just to show just this. Over 5 inches in one place, and then 2-3 feet away, it was under 3 inches. And looking at that graphic, like you mentioned, those are drastically different levels of thickness when it comes to ice safety. So just because we've measured and we try and share out updated ice conditions on all of our websites, it's important for people to remember that ice is not uniform across an entire reservoir. So taking every safety precaution possible, if you do decide to venture on the ice, is paramount, especially not going alone. Having someone there to help if you fall in, you help if they fall in, and call for help.
What is the best resource? Say I want to get into ice fishing. Is that on the state website?
Absolutely. You can visit stateparks.utah.gov. We have an ice safety webpage loaded up. And finding other members of your local community that are experienced ice fishermen is one option. Finding people that have been doing this for a long time, or in cases of better years where there's better winter, state parks across the state, along with wildlife resources, host Winterfests, where we guide people through the process of winter sports, including ice fishing, and those are free.
Devin Chavez with the Utah State Parks Department. Thank you so much. We appreciate our friends at the state parks putting out this warning to people about, the ice situation. In many places, it's not good. A man lost his life this week at Settlement Canyon in Tooele County when he fell through the ice while trying to rescue a woman who had fallen through the ice. Today at KSLNewsRadio.com, you will find all kinds of information on what we just talked about, and also like what not to do when you get in situations when you are having to rescue someone who's fallen through the ice. So we'll have complete safety tips at KSLNewsRadio.com.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock. This is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Shaleos. KSL's top story this hour. It is developing news. We are awaiting an update in the search for the missing 19-year-old in American Fork. Search and rescue crews are looking for McKenna Minor in the mountains near Tibble Fork Reservoir. This is the third night and fourth day since she went missing.
Had our search and rescue team up here, our mounted posse up here, and we've had Lifelight and the Department of Public Safety helicopter helping search from the air, as well as our fixed-wing aircraft searching.
That was Sergeant Spencer Cannon with the Utah County Sheriff's Office. KSL News Radio has a reporter on the scene getting the latest from the search and rescue crews. Police in Tooele have released the name of the man who died after falling through the ice at Settlement Canyon Reservoir on Sunday. He was 20-year-old Emaloni Latui, who lived in Taylorsville. A woman who also fell through the ice was rescued and taken to the hospital. The irrigation company that owns Settlement Canyon Reservoir has now closed off public access. Following this tragedy, it's more important than ever to know what to do if someone near you falls through the ice. KSL News Radio spoke with the Unified Fire Authority to learn more.
Don't go on the ice yourself. That's the number one rule Captain Tony Barker of the Unified Fire Authority wants people to know.
If we can get them into a warm car, a trailer, something like that allows us to heat the inside while we take off those wet clothes, that's ideal.
He says call 911 first, then throw a rope or use a branch, shovel, a broom, something to reach the victim and pull them out of the water. Once you've got medical on the way, stay where you are or coordinate with medical where the best place to meet is. Dale Spalding, KSL News Radio.
Meantime, there was trespassing and 2 rescues at the Hot Pots in Ogden Canyon yesterday.
The Ogden Fire Department had to use their ladder trucks to hoist an unconscious person out of the hot springs twice in one day. And Sergeant Terrence Lavely from the Weber County Sheriff's Office says it's not uncommon.
Occasionally we do have incidents like we did last night where people become too intoxicated and then they have to be hoisted out by the fire department.
Lavely says the hot pots are on private property, so anyone who trespasses could face a Class B misdemeanor, which is punishable by a $1,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. Meta owner Mark Zuckerberg publicly apologized to families for the harm his social media platforms have caused. Zuckerberg is at a U.S. Senate hearing this morning along with 4 other big tech company executives. They are facing a grilling from a judiciary committee and families about the influence of their products, the influence that their products have on teens. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more on the hearing.
Democrats and Republicans joined in their condemnation of social media. Senator Lindsey Graham pointed to the suicides of teens who've been sexually exploited or extorted.
You have a product that's killing people.
The CEOs, such as Discord's Jason Citron, pushed back on the need for new laws protecting minors and removing liability protections.
We're not prepared to support it today.
Graham blamed his colleagues, noting 5 bills the Judiciary panel has already cleared remain stuck in the Senate.
They go nowhere. They leave the committee and they die.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Salt Lake City's mayor delivered her State of the City address last night. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson has a look.
The mayor talked affordable housing, capitalizing on the city's rapid growth and expanding the city's green space.
Last year, we broke ground on the city's first new regional park in over 65 years, and it's happening on our west side, finally.
Mayor Mendenhall supports Governor Cox's efforts to shore up state funding for homeless services, emergency shelters, and mental health assistance. She, like the rest of us, also can't wait for some baseball.
If on this path toward getting a permanent team, we get to keep our beloved Bees at Smith's Ballpark for a few more years.
She says the city would be ready for that curveball. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
We do have some breaking news on KSL News Radio. The Federal Reserve has just announced that it will hold interest rates steady. We will hear from the Fed chair probably later this hour about their decision and what they hope to do with the interest rates in the near future. BYU's last head hockey coach is just as excited about a possible NHL team as Mayor Mendenhall is about the MLB, but says he wishes they still had a team to help build up the excitement.
It was a popular sport down there.
Dave Pitcher coached the BYU team from 2018 until their last season 2 years ago.
We had capacity crowds probably 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year.
BYU chose not to renew the team's contract in 2022. Afterwards, Pitcher says some players went to play for another school, but most just focused on finishing their degrees. Pitcher says if they still had the team, he thinks it would have helped build popularity for the sport.
I think it would have grown. I think it would have grown with the other college teams here in the state. And I think they kind of missed out.
Pitcher says he still hopes to this day they can find a way to bring the team back. But even if they do, he thinks
they'll be playing catch up.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. No accidents, no delays. Just a little bit of busy traffic southbound I-15 as you're passing the North Temple I-80 junction area in the Salt Lake City area. But overall, a quiet start to our noontime drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
I do listen to KSL so much because you've got voices like Boyd Matheson.
I listen to him every day.
You can trust him.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes their way. That's why Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today.
Give your business a head start in 2024. Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Call or go online to switch today. Ends 2/21/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 50 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Prepaid card offer requires premium internet.
Experience classical hits through a new lens. The Utah Symphony presents Masterworks Magnified, themed and fun-filled concert events that take you beyond the music. Are you a book lover? February 2nd and 3rd, discover the world of music inspired by literature. Then on April 26th and 27th, explore the powerful connection between music and motion. Bring a date or a few friends for a night out at downtown Salt Lake City's Abrovnal Hall. Before the concert, grab drinks and specialty concessions and explore themed activities. Then settle into your seat. A host will guide you through the music, and captivating visuals will be projected as the orchestra plays. Masterworks Magnified is the perfect first symphony concert or a chance to experience classical music in a new way. Tickets start at $21 at utahsymphony.org/magnified.
Treat yourself to a new experience with Utah Opera and Utah Symphony. Get your tickets at utahopera.org. Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News. Recapping our top story, we're waiting to hear an update about a missing 19-year-old from American Fork. Search and rescue has been scanning the canyon by horse the past few days, with helicopters searching in the skies. The Utah Jazz and Stanley had just announced a multi-year agreement. This is the first ever deal Stanley has made with a professional sports franchise. Starting February 4th, limited number of Utah Jazz-themed tumblers will be sold exclusively at the team store located in the Delta Center. With another day in the moderate range for air quality, KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera finds out if we've made any progress over the years. Utah has tried to be more idle-free.
Utah is no stranger to idle-free initiatives, and I asked Kim Frost with UCare if she thinks it's made a difference.
Yeah, I think that the idle-free initiative has definitely made a difference. We know that about 40% of our emissions come from our cars and trucks on the road.
Frost believes it's the area where we can make a difference the most. Waiting in drive-thrus, waiting to pick up the kids. There are times we can simply turn it off. But even with legislation trying to make changes, Frost says
it really needs to be all of us taking action.
Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Provo could soon be a destination for international flyers. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla explains.
The Provo Airport is asking the Utah legislature for $5.5 million to expand and add international flights. Orem Representative Val Peterson says he hopes it'll end up like the Long Beach Airport, with 10 gates instead of the current 4. Last year, the airport got $3 million. Peterson says that money went to good use and got the airport to the position it is now to even consider expanding this much.
Now, the airport has 2 airlines currently, Breeze and Allegiant, both of which want to add more flights. It's not cigarettes, chewing tobacco, or vape pens this time. Zyn, little nicotine patches from Sweden, are now popular in the U.S., but some doctors are concerned about marketing to children.
The American Lung Association's Dr. Panagis Galiasato says he's worried that the little nicotine pouches are too easy for kids to slip into their mouths. He's also concerned about the long-term effects of the nicotine-only delivery system that haven't been studied thoroughly.
These products in the hands of adults, that's one thing, but in the hands of the youth with their developing brain is another.
Zyn is promoted heavily on social media by young people who have made a business out of being so-called Zynfluencers. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
It's pretty quiet out there. Freeway traffic rolling along and looking good. No accidents or delays there. Now remember, in South Jordan on the Parkway, 104th South, we do have a closure at 3200 West due to water main repairs from a breakage that happened yesterday or the day before. Anyway, that's going to continue into tomorrow. So if that's your normal route, you do need to consider an alternate route, such as Bangerter Highway. That might be a better way to go if you're traveling South Jordan. But overall, the freeways and main secondaries in good shape at this time. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 56. Yes, dealing with the valley haze again. 39 overnight with cloud cover increasing. Tomorrow, 55, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for a shower. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 54 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and still to come on Utah's New News. A bill outlining who can use the men's and women's bathroom has become law. We have more from the bill's sponsor coming up. Streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy. like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Many people, Amanda, I think, start each new year with one of two resolutions. One is to lose weight. The other is to save money.
Yeah.
And if you struggle to do that in the past, UCCU has an automatic way to help you.
I have used these wonderful savings goals, savings accounts at UCCU so many times. In fact, I just set one up. It's so easy. You just go and you tell it, what are you saving for? So right now I'm saving for a senior trip for my youngest son.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell it, I have until June of 2025. I want to save this much money. And then it will tell you, all right, well then every month or every other week or whatever you want to do, you have to set aside this much, and it will automatically take it out of your savings account.
You can have as many accounts as you want, name them whatever you want, and let's just say you want to save $600 this year.
Right.
$50 a month will automatically go in, and you're reaching your goals. You haven't done a thing.
This is the way to save money and not feel it, which is the way to be successful.
So to get started, just log in to their online or mobile banking and click on any of the goals to begin.
UCCU.com, Utah Community Credit Union. Love where you bank.
Hey, folks, it's Doug and Kathy with Window World.
Doug, can you believe it's been 20 years?
What's been 20 years?
Well, since we opened our first Window World store.
That is amazing. Our motto today is the same: quality products, professionally installed, backed up by our awesome warranty.
And our team shares those very same values.
Come see us today. We have stores in Murray and Spanish Fork for your convenience.
Experience the Window World difference. Call 801-281-8111 or visit windowworldutah.com.
And we promise no baloney.
They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. You may not have that kind of time for weatherization, energy efficiency, and appliance rebates, but we do. Dominion Energy's ThermWise program has experts who know where and how to save money. They help homeowners and businesses find simple ways to conserve natural gas and rebates through upgrades that may help to save even more. We put our energy into helping you conserve it, so you can spend your 10,000 hours becoming an expert in what matters to you. Start with a home energy plan at thermwise.com.
It's the Boat Show, February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Save $2 at utahboatshow.com.
The Boat Show, fun for the whole family.
KSL News Time 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the Provo Airport is asking the legislature for $5.5 million to expand the airport's capabilities and complete international flights. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, a former Salt Lake City police officer accused of aggravated assault has been in court this week. Prosecutors say the officer was under the influence when he used his vehicle to pin a victim between his vehicle and another car. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A little bit of busy traffic southbound on Foothill, anywhere from the U down to about 1700 south around those intersections. Freeway traffic looks good, including I-15 both directions between Ogden and Provo. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A nice late January balm today with highs in the upper 50s. I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 55 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A sobering assessment outlined by FBI Director Christopher Wray on Capitol Hill on the threats to the nation's infrastructure. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
We announced an operation where we and our partners identified hundreds of routers that had been taken over by the PRC state-sponsored hacking group known as Volt Typhoon.
That was FBI Director Christopher Wray telling lawmakers about a just-announced FBI operation thwarting a Chinese hacking attempt to use routers to breach critical U.S. infrastructure.
This operation was an important step, but there's a whole lot more to do, and we need your help to do it.
The White House says the U.S. military will carry out a multi-level response to the drone strike that killed 3 American service members in Jordan. Militant groups backed by Iran are being blamed for that attack. The rising tensions come as key talks continue on an extended pause in the Israel-Hamas war, a deal that would include the release of more hostages. ABC's James Longman is in Israel.
A flurry of diplomatic activity across the Middle East this morning as a deal may be close to release the more than 100 people still held hostage in Gaza and stop the violence, which has killed more than 26,000 Palestinians. U.S. officials tell ABC News a 6-week pause is being proposed, with the first phase seeing the elderly, women and children released first.
The West Coast bracing for more wind, rain, and snow. ABC's Alex Stone says California prep's underway.
Up and down California, people are getting ready for what's predicted to be days of heavy rain starting today in Northern California and then Thursday morning, right during the morning commute for Southern California. Shelters are open and some schools in Sonoma County and Northern California have closed out of fears of flooding.
The Federal Reserve Board wrapping up its policy meeting, and after weighing the latest economic data, has decided to keep interest rates unchanged once again. That could be welcome news for Americans trying to pay off credit debt and potential home buyers with a dip in mortgage rates. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The bill outlining who can use the men's and women's bathroom has become law. The sponsor, Representative Kara Birkeland, says her intent was to keep people who are being inappropriate or lewd out of bathrooms of the opposite gender.
Everyone keeps focusing on the transgender community, which is, I get that that's something that people want to talk about because they love to make a big deal out of that. But this is really not about the transgender community. And we heard in testimonies repeatedly that transgender individuals already today, last year, the year before that, felt uncomfortable in public bathrooms as it was.
She tells David Dujanovic the state will build more unisex bathrooms, but there could be negative impacts for Salt Lake City's prospects. Could there, rather, be negative impacts for the 2034 Olympics? Birkeland says she doesn't think so.
The Olympics have been in China. They are the worst human rights in the world. They have the most violations of anyone in the world, and they went there. So I don't see them being concerned that Utah wants to create privacy and safety for all people in our state. As far as hockey or baseball, I think the bill it walks that fine line of respecting individuals while ensuring at the end of the day we have privacy, and respect and grace has to go everywhere. It has to be applied to everyone. It's not okay to say, I feel this way, I self-identify this way, and so there's no rules that apply to me. This says, look, you be you, you do you, but we're going to ensure that privacy and respect is upheld for everyone.
And that is the sponsor of the bill, Representative Kara Birkeland. Breaking news on KSL News Radio. Utah County Sheriff say they have found a body during their search at Tibble Fork for a missing 19-year-old. They weren't able to say if the body was of McKenna Minor, who has been missing since Sunday. We have a reporter on the scene. We will have more details as soon as they are available. KSL News Time, 12:19. That means traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
It is a beautiful day for a drive. Lots of sunshine, good road conditions, no problems. Whether you're headed up to the slopes or just out for a drive to get a bite to eat, you're good to go. No accidents reported on the freeways or main secondaries, and we're also delay-free. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available. Save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts out with some unseasonably warm weather. 56 today, hazy sunshine, maybe a couple of high clouds towards the end of the day. 55 tomorrow, mostly cloudy, slight chance for a shower, breezy out of the south. 46, rain likely on Friday. Now transitioning into Saturday morning, rain snow showers, 41 the high for your Saturday afternoon. Partly cloudy, dry on Sunday, 43. Breezy out of the south on Monday, mostly cloudy. Rain snow showers on Tuesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Feels like spring, sunny, 55 degrees downtown, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful, and still to come on Utah's Noon News. Markets in negative territory after the Federal Reserve's decision to keep interest rates stable. We'll have a complete update of your money news coming up next.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine. Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
It's the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo.
Time to buy the boat of your dreams.
February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Great fun and shopping for the whole family.
The Boat Show is here, better climb aboard. Get your best deal and buy at the Boat Show.
Watch BMX pro riders jump and fly the ramps. Learn fly tying with fishing experts.
See hundreds of new surf boats, wake boats, ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats, cruisers, houseboats and shares, personal watercraft, marine accessories, trucks, and more.
Shop, compare, buy, and save on new boats and accessories.
Register to win a 5-day Alaskan fishing trip courtesy of RW Fishing.
ABC4 Utah and Utah's CW30 invites you to the most exciting boat buying event of the year, the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo, Thursday, February 1st through Sunday the 4th at Mountain America Expo in Sandy.
Buy tickets online and save $2 at UtahBoatShow.com.
The Boat Show is here, better climb aboard.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and we all loved and grew up with the game. Now you're going to love the show. It's on the stage at Hale Center Theater right now, and it's called Clue. It is so funny, so clever, and I've got to tell you this. I love plays that include slow motion scenes, I'm not kidding you, and even rewind scenes. And if you're looking for the best death scene ever witnessed on the stage, it's waiting for you right now at Hale Center Theater in Clue. But there's so much more coming up in the 2024 season, and that includes Fiddler on the Roof, that's coming up next, Sound of Music, May We All, a country musical, The Time Machine, The Nutty Professor, Aladdin, The Magician's Elephant, and Beauty and the Beast. It's going to be a great season at Hale Center Theater. Go to hct.org to get your season tickets, individual tickets, and of course, gift cards.
KSL News Time 1224. The average number of points scored in an NBA game is the highest it's been since 1969. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris explains why.
An average of 115.6 points are scored per NBA game so far this season. And as scores generally increase further into the year, that number is likely to grow even higher. Jazz play-by-play announcer David Locke says the increase in points is due to a number of reasons, including a higher skill set in every player.
Everybody on the floor can now shoot a three. Means that everyone has to be guarded at 22 to 25 feet, creating massive amounts of space. If you think about soccer, and they all talk about playing in space, creating massive amount of space for the greatest athletes in the world to make plays.
I'm KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris.
KSL News Time 1225, watching Utah's money. Job openings rose in December with 9 million job postings. That's a major increase from November and another sign the job market is resilient despite higher interest rates. Job openings remain at historically high levels. Before 2021, they had never topped 8 million. Microsoft says its profit for the final quarter of last year soared 33% because of AI. The growth in the company's cloud computing unit is to thank. The company reported net income for the quarter at $21.87 billion or $2.93 per share, beating Wall Street expectations of $2.79 per share. The Tropicana Las Vegas Hotel announced its final day. It will close on April 2nd, just days before its 67th anniversary. Demolition plans will also begin to make way for the $1.5 billion Major League Baseball stadium. And taking a look at your money at this moment, stocks dipping this hour after the Federal Reserve. They held interest rates steady, but they also said they're not in a hurry to cut interest rates. Market's not liking that. The Dow right now down by 70 points, sitting at 38,397. S&P, it's down by about 49, and the NASDAQ down by 235 points. A movie following the life of Bob Marley is coming to theaters soon.
The sounds of Bob Marley filled the air in London last night for the premiere of the biopic Bob Marley, One Love. Kingsley Ben-Adir plays the iconic reggae star and says the film will show a side of Marley most people don't know.
Understanding who he is as a human, who he was on a more personal level, outside of the public persona,
that was all new. Everything I learned was new.
Bob Marley, One Love, will be in theaters February 14th. Jason Nathanson, ABC News.
You probably love some Utah Jazz tickets. Am I right?
Through traffic all the way to the finish line and let it up and in.
KSL wants you to go see the Jazz Sixers game. Listen to Tim and Amanda Wednesday and Thursday morning for your chance to win. Primo Jazz tickets Wednesday and Thursday on Utah's Morning News on KSL News Radio.
See the high-flying dunks, show-stopping blocks, and crowd-silencing threes at Delta Center this season. With an action-packed schedule, it's easy to get to a Jazz game. Pick out an unmissable matchup, or just a tip-off time that works for you. It's time to put on your Jazz gear and head to the game. Come with a friend, a loved one, or as a group. See all available tickets and options at utahjazz.com or call or text 801-355-DUNK.
Okay, that's good. Whoa, Dave!
Sorry, I'll go grab some paper towels. You can't let Dave pour things. He works at JCW's. They fill stuff up past the brim over there, like their milkshakes. They're thick, rich, and oh my gosh.
Delicious?
Oh no, Dave's filling up Crystal's car for her.
Dave, stop!
Hey, this is Clark for JCW. Stop into any of our 5 locations today. We're located in American Fork, Thanksgiving Point, Provo, South Jordan, and our new location in Harriman. Come in and see why at JCW's we believe in quality and a lot of it.
KSL News Time, 1229, traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Ricky, still a good-looking drive?
Oh, yeah. It's nice out there. If you're on the freeways, no accidents, no delays, normal KSL travel times, including I-15 in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. No problems reported there. Your main secondary is also in good shape. Again, we want to remind you a portion of South Jordan Parkway, that's 104th South, is closed near 3200 West until tomorrow for water main break repair work, so plan an alternate route. Attention, Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts with GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Dialing up some really mild temperatures today, high of 56 and mostly sunny skies, but also dealing with that gunky air at the valley floor. Overnight, 39, mild. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, a little breezy, and a slight chance for a shower late afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny, 55 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me for Utah's afternoon news. KSL News Time is 12:30. KSL's top story is breaking news. Body has been discovered after an extensive search for a missing teenager in American Fork Canyon. KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard Bell is there live with more details. Hugo?
Maria, search and rescue have just confirmed a body of a female has been found to the northwest of Tibble Fork Reservoir. Detectives are currently doing an official identification as we speak. However, they can't confirm it's McKenna Minor until the medical examiner does so. Police told me there is strong evidence that points to suicide. McKenna Minor has been missing since Sunday, and police say there was evidence of mental health issues. She's just 19 years old. From Tibble Fork Reservoir, Hugo Ricard Bell, KSL News Radio.
A former Salt Lake City police officer accused of aggravated assault has been in court this week. Thomas Cagle is accused of aggravated assault after a car crash in 2022. Prosecutors say Cagle was under the influence when he used his vehicle to pin a victim between his vehicle and another car. The trial is expected to end tomorrow. Utah's governor has signed 2 bills into law, one that requires people to use bathrooms that align with gender listed on their birth certificate in state-owned buildings, and another that ends diversity, equality, and inclusion programs on college campuses.
After signing what's been dubbed the transgender bathroom bill, Governor Spencer Cox said in a statement, quote, "We want public facilities that are safe and accommodating for everyone, and this bill increases privacy protections for all."
The hard part about trying to get this right is that eventually the government has to draw a line somewhere.
That's floor sponsor Senator Dan McKay. The bill also enhances criminal penalties for lewd behavior in private spaces. And with the DEI bill signed, government entities, including public colleges, can no longer use diversity statements in their hiring and enrollment processes. Supporters say this will create fair and equal opportunities for everyone while also not limiting free speech. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We are hearing from the sponsor of the controversial bathroom bill for the first time since it became law. Representative Kara Birkeland says she she doesn't want to criminalize a person for using a bathroom that doesn't match their birth certificate. What she wants to do is penalize people for loitering or being lewd or creepy.
If you behave in that kind of behavior in that bathroom and you're in a restroom that doesn't correspond with your sex at birth, then you could be criminally prosecuted.
Birkeland believes the bill shouldn't negatively impact future Utah events like the Olympics because the games were held in China, which has many more restrictions. A bill to set ground rules for what it takes to remove a book from Utah schools just passed the state's House of Representatives. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
One of the big changes of this bill is a two-track system for what it takes for a book to face removal statewide. One is when it contains what the bill sponsors call objectively obscene material, including graphic sexual descriptions and scenes. Material like this doesn't have to go through a council review, which can be lengthy. The other is for subjectively obscene material, which is more ambiguous and would be up to school district committees to examine.
The other major change is a rule that if 3 school districts agree a book is not acceptable for students, the book would be off limits across Utah. KSL's top national stories. The FBI is warning that China has a cyber hacking and is ready to wreak havoc in America. FBI Director Christopher Wray speaking in a House Select Committee today.
They recruit human sources to target our businesses, using insiders to steal the same kinds of innovation and data that their hackers are targeting, while also engaging in corporate deception, hiding Beijing's hand in transactions, joint ventures, and investments to do the same.
Ray says China's hackers would still outnumber America's cyber personnel by at least 50-1. California is about to get hit by a strong storm that will impact much of the state, and there are worries of heavy rain, wind, and flooding.
It's been a while since an atmospheric river has slammed California. Days of nonstop storms like a river of water, and this one comes after days of what have felt like summer, sunshine, and temperatures around 80 degrees in some areas. That all disappears. Now shelters are opening and some schools in Sonoma County are closing. 4 inches of rainfall could come down.
ABC's Alex Stone is in California. Northern Utah is already prepping for serious snowfall this weekend. Juab County has issued a weather advisory for Saturday. The sheriff's office says they are expecting travel along the Wasatch Mountains to get pretty dicey. As for today, Matt Johnson says today is going to be mild.
56 is the forecast high at the airport, but I'm telling you, there's going to be spots across the Wasatch Front, namely the south end of the Salt Lake Valley, that will get even warmer. We'll hold on to haze today, hopefully getting rid of a little bit of it, but all in all, hazy sunshine today.
And we'll begin seeing the beginning of that storm tomorrow. First look traffic, here's Ricky Meese.
Crash-free, delay-free on the Valley freeways and main secondaries. A road closure due to repair work. South Jordan Parkway at 3200 West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Bigger stories demand more accountability, more experience, more trust.
If it's like an election day or we're expecting some bad weather, KSL presents the story. Unbiased. It's a good local source.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
The new year is here, and it's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the year. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. So it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Don't forget your air ducts to help alleviate allergies or asthma. Enjoy less dust, lower energy bills, and your home will stay cleaner longer. Don't DIY it. Call Zero Res because you know it's safe and effective. Zero Res has a 4.8 rating on Google with over 3,300 reviews. The Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee makes it easy to get what you pay for. Yeah, Zero Res absolutely stands behind every cleaning. Don't miss the best deal of the year. Get back to clean and get 1 room of carpet cleaning starting at just $25 per room by using promo code 25RM. Call Zero Res at 866-ZERO-RES or go online at ZeroRes.com and say you want the station special. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forwards. It spells the same.
When's the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? It's now. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I remember years ago being sent home from elementary school with a small tree in a styrofoam cup. I know some of you can relate. If that was planted, it's now bigger than you are. Your finances are the same way. The best time to get started, or The best time to get a second opinion is now. And with time and patience, imagine how big your financial tree could be. 20 years ago, if you invested $1,000 in Apple stock, it could be worth over $500,000 today. That is a big tree. Do that for you and do that for someone you love. Call Trajan Wealth today and help us help you plant that financial tree.
Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's New News, recapping our top story. Utah County Sheriff's Office says they have found a body during their search at Tibble Fork for a missing 19-year-old. KSL News Time 1238. A Massachusetts man is facing a federal court today on charges over threats against a synagogue.
59-year-old John Reardon of Millis, Massachusetts, southwest of Boston, is facing federal charges in court after police say he threatened to bomb one synagogue in the Boston area, threatened another one, as well as a Jewish organization. An FBI affidavit says the threats were deeply disturbing. The affidavit also says Reardon was previously investigated in 2022 for allegedly leaving a threatening voicemail at a Massachusetts grade school and for allegedly making violent threats to workers at a local bank in 2020. No immediate comment from Reardon's attorney. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Utah's lakes may be helping each other in the near future. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
State senators are working on approving $2 million to fund a study about how Utah Lake could help the Great Salt Lake by improving their water supply. Both bodies of water are tied together by the Jordan River. The study would see if water from the Jordan River could be funneled into the Great Salt Lake through Utah Lake. The Great Salt Lake's levels have seen massive improvement in the last couple years, but it's still 5 to 8 feet below what is considered healthy. Utah Lake is at 97% capacity. With additional storms on the way, overflow could be dangerous for the area, and the Great Salt Lake could really use the extra water. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Utah Office of Tourism wants to hear your Utah love story. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff explains.
Starting on Valentine's Day and running through April 15th, the Utah Office of Tourism is going to be collecting stories for In Love in Utah.
Everyone who has visited Utah has a unique story about our dramatic landscapes, our welcoming people, the adventure and the culture you find here. And we feel like this sentiment is just best encapsulated in that word, love.
Marketing Director Ben Cook says the top 4 love stories are going to be awarded a 3-night trip to Utah, complete with accommodations at one of 4 lodging partners, round-trip flights from Delta Airlines, and a meal voucher. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 1239. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Let's check in now with Ricky Meese.
We still have a really good-looking drive in progress on all of the Valley freeways. We have had some busy traffic at times traveling the main street from Park City, between Park City and I-80, as well as Highway 40 between I-80 over to Jordanelle. But overall, here in the valley, even in the canyons, we're seeing good speeds and no problems. We do have a road closure due to repair work, and this is South Jordan Parkway, 104th South at 3200 West. That is expected to open sometime tomorrow. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're going mild before the wild yet again. Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 56. That's 16 above the normal. Overnight, 39, clouds increasing. Tomorrow, 55, mostly cloudy, a slight chance for a shower. We bring in the rain on Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, we're enjoying some nice sunshine, a great afternoon for a walk, 55 degrees. It's up to 58 today. Well, enjoy it because things are going to get right back down into the winter weather come the weekend. Coming up on Utah's New News, there's a lot of excitement about bringing Major League sports to Utah. We're going to hear more excitement from Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall coming up. Streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
I had no idea what the world of cabinets might hold for me, but Euromax has opened my eyes to what cabinets should be. This is Hans Olsen, and I eat a lot of food. With that comes storing a lot of food, and Euromax has customized that for me. Deep shelves for extra storage, LED lights that come on as the door opens so I can eat at night, charging ports for phones or iPads, spice racks, elevated shelving for cans, glass fronts or specific color and texture fronts, deep pull-out drawers for pots and pans, and all of it waterproof and warranted for life. The perfect place to store my most prized possession, my food. Mike and Max have 35-plus combined years of experience from America to Europe to form the most unique blend of traditional American craftsmanship and authentic European design. You can head to their showroom in Pleasant Grove or check out all the possibilities at EuromaxFurniture.com. Sleek, elegant, innovative design, fashioned in Europe, and installed right here in Utah. That's EuromaxFurniture.com. Euromax, built for you.
You can stream your favorite show anytime, but the opera only happens 4 times per year. Join us and make new memories with your family and friends. Enjoy the entertaining stories, beautiful sets and costumes, and mesmerizing music. You deserve an elegant night on the town or a Sunday matinee with Utah Opera. Your couch will be there when you get back. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahopera.org. Get ready for the ultimate movie experience. You, your loved ones, the big screen, and, oh yeah, the world-class Utah Symphony playing the movie's music live, giving you next-level surround sound. Don't miss the Hollywood classic Casablanca or the animated favorite How to Train Your Dragon. The Films in Concert series will become your new preferred cinematic experience. Located conveniently in downtown Salt Lake City at Marisa Bravenel Hall. See what's playing next at utahsymphony.org/films.
Experience Utah Symphony's films in concert. Tickets are on sale now at utahsymphony.org. KSL News Time 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah County Sheriff's Office says they found a body during their search at Tibble Fork for a missing 19-year-old. They weren't able to say if the body was of McKenna Minor, who's been missing since Sunday. I'm KSL News Radio's Jessica Lowell.
Second, the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged. This is the 4th time in a row the rates have remained steady. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
You're good to go if you're traveling I-15, 215, I-80, or the 201. No accidents and no delays. Our main secondary is also looking good for your noontime drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hazy with very mild conditions today in the upper 50s, mid-50s and clouds tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 57 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Americans and U.S. businesses getting a little breathing room. The Federal Reserve Board leaving interest rates unchanged for now.
The Fed Board looking at jobs, growth, and inflation, then deciding there's no need for another rate hike. The interest they charge banks remaining the same, between 5.25% and 5.5%. But the Fed chair saying that doesn't mean they plan to lower rates anytime soon, citing economic uncertainty and that they haven't yet lowered inflation to their overall 2% target.
ABC's Andy Field. A showdown shaping up between the House and Senate over immigration reform. House Speaker Mike Johnson criticizing the Senate bipartisan deal, saying it doesn't go far enough to slow the flow of migrants at the southern border. Senate Republicans, though, urging their House counterparts to back the measure instead of doing nothing. Talks continue on a temporary ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel that would also include the release of more hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. This is ABC News.
KSL, time now for the KSL In-Depth. There's lots of talks about bringing major league sports to Utah. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall joined KSL TV this morning and said Salt Lake City is the perfect place for sports to blossom.
We have been the epicenter of sports, entertainment, and recreation for Salt Lake City and for the state of Utah for decades. But the opportunities that are coming at us right now from the 2034 games, the potential of NHL and MLB, are fitting for Salt Lake City and who we are right now. Our state has the strongest economy. Our downtown population is doubling between 2020 and this time next year. We are a vital, growing downtown, and more Major League sports is good for the state of Utah when our downtown is strong and intact. That's where we're going to grow, and it means that we have to evolve our public spaces in the downtown core, more pedestrian-oriented, more fun things to do, and more family-oriented. And that's what where we're going in the next 4 years.
We've heard a lot about that people want the spaces downtown.
Right. Well, and that's the key here, is keeping it downtown. How are you as mayor going to make sure that that happens and it doesn't end up like Point in the Mountain that I've heard some suggestions?
That's right. And Salt Lake City has a deal where we own the land that the Delta Center is on. That's contracted with the Smith Entertainment Group, of course, who owns the Jazz and operates the Delta Center. The way that experience happens needs to be more outward facing. And that means that we're going to involve other downtown stakeholders to help us envision how we grow an entertainment district. And we want it to be the kind of place that you want to go, that our kids want to go, that even our parents want to go to, even if you don't have a ticket to the game. That the environment down there and the activities down there are welcoming, no matter whether you're going in or out. It's a whole experience, and this is possible in our downtown.
KSL News Time, 12:49. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways and main secondaries. Higher elevations, no problems in Parley's, Bigger Little Cottonwood, or in Provo Canyon. However, there is an accident being reported on SR 92 Alpine Loop. It's going to take a little bit to get it cleared, but there aren't any cameras in the area, and I don't think there's any kind of big backup. But if you are going towards the Sundance area, just be aware that crews are on the scene with an accident there. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts out with 50s, folks. 56 today. That's pushing 16 above the normal. Mostly sunny skies and hazy again. We're going to lose the haze tomorrow. Breezy out of the south. 55, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. Rain likely on Friday, 46 the high. 41, rain, snow showers on Saturday, then clearing out Sunday, partly cloudy, 43. Into next week, Monday, mostly cloudy, 48, windy out of the south. We'll then go Tuesday, rain, snow showers, 46. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 57 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is sponsored by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And still to come, we're going to check the markets, now mixed. The Dow back in positive territory after the Fed announcing that it's going to hold interest rates steady. The little quirk in their announcement is that they're not too excited about cutting rates anytime soon.
Have you heard of IRS Tax Code Section 1.408A-4? It sounds complicated, but it's a simple tax law thousands of Utah families are using to lock in lower tax bills when they retire. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement, and some of this money is in an IRA or 401k, it could save you tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in future tax bills. You can find out how much you could save by requesting a free and confidential retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. For your free retirement tax analysis, call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
You know, it's hard to believe that Dee and I have now been living in our new house for about 9 years now. You know, the thing that has really surprised me is how many appliances we have had to have work on and even replace. You know, the one that we haven't replaced? haven't done any work on at all, have not had a minute's trouble with, it's the Connecticut soft water system. And it's so interesting because when we were building the home, the builder said, okay, well, what do you want for a water softener? And I just interrupted. I said, wait, we're going to go with Connecticut. And they just smiled at me like, yeah, we know about Connecticut. Never once have we had an issue with our Connecticut soft water system, not only in our new home, but in our previous home as well. It just sits there in the basement, does its job, does it so much more efficiently than any other soft water system out there on the market today. Why don't you give them a call, 801-576-8600, or go to softwaterutah.com.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
KSL News Time 12:54. Police have found the stolen statue honoring baseball legend and civil rights hero Jackie Robinson.
This is Jim Ryan. Broken, twisted, tossed into a trash bin, and set on fire, the original Jackie Robinson statue cannot be saved. Bob Lutz heads the nonprofit that paid for it.
Obviously, this is not the result we wanted, but it is a result.
As police look for the thieves, a GoFundMe account has collected over $100,000. And Wichita City Councilman Brandon Johnson says,
that symbol of hope will only be gone for a short time.
A new bronze statue using the mold from the first one could be standing by April 15th, Jackie Robinson Day in the major leagues. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, Boeing says it lost $30 million in the fourth quarter of the year, but revenue was stronger than expected. The company said the loss works out to 47 cents per share after excluding one-time expenses. That was a narrower loss than Wall Street analysts were expecting. A Provo woman has been sentenced to 6 years in prison after a money laundering scheme that cost victims more than $6 million. The 2-year scheme involved creating fake online dating profiles to connect with strangers and then ask for financial help. Walmart managers will start getting an annual grant of company stock this year. It's in the larger stores, that's worth up to $20,000. Now, other workers will be getting raises, and some stores will implement bonus programs. Taking a look at your money at this moment, all the markets back in negative territory. The Dow's down by about 24 points. It's been bouncing around. S&P 500, it's down by 40. The NASDAQ down by 172 points. A lack of human connection can lead to physical problems like heart attacks and dementia. And now a Northern California county is declaring an emergency involving loneliness.
Yes. With this unanimous vote, San Mateo County becomes the first in the country to declare a public health emergency over loneliness, an epidemic in the country, especially after the pandemic. Nearly half of U.S. adults report they're lonely, desiring human connection. The Board of Supervisors wants to put money toward mental health help and helping adults connect.
No one wants to say, look, I feel I'm lonely.
The county is asking the state to address the problem as well. Alex Stone, ABC News.
I'm not going to lie. It's nice when I see someone I haven't seen for a long time and they say, man, you've lost weight. I mean, that's nice. I lost 34 pounds a couple of years ago, and I've kept it off with the Soda Weight Loss program, sodaweightloss.com. Here is Rosie.
They always ask me what I'm doing, how much weight I've lost, like if there's any diet that I'm doing. And I'm really excited to tell them about the Soda program. It's one of those things that I think think is worth every penny, especially when you're investing in your own health.
That is the way I look at it. It was an investment in myself.
It really is. And when you talk about the health side of it, being overweight leads to high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, sleep apnea. The list is long. My daughter Amber, who lost 42 pounds, talks about how much better she feels, not just emotionally about herself, but physically, and being able to do some of the things she wasn't able to do before.
You know, my doctor used to tell me, you need to lose some weight, Amanda. I finally did with Soda Weight Loss.
Get it off and keep it off at Soda Weight Loss. Go to sodaweightloss.com, spelled SOTA, stands for state of the art.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive knows we're all trying to save right now.
Hey, at least we're still enjoying baseball on a Saturday night, right?
Even if it is T-ball.
Yeah, but tickets to the majors are just so expensive now. And who knows, maybe we're seeing a pro in the making.
Sure, in like 20 years. How is he safe? Boo! This ump stinks!
The ump is only 14. We don't really do that.
Oh, my bad. You're doing a great job, ump.
Progressive offers you savings without sacrifice, so save big when you bundle home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 13 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Nevada, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, or other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 90 days from a station contest or event are not eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Up and down I-15, no delays, but we do have a vehicle fire. KSL traffic trooper also letting us know that they've seen it. This is on the northbound side of I-15 in the Draper area. It's right before Bangor Highway's exit. And so far, emergency crews are blocking a right lane of travel, but we don't have any major backups. There is some slowing in the area, but again, you're going to be able to get around it without too much inconvenience. Fire crew still on the scene, and that smoke has turned from black to white, and it is almost gone now. Won't take too much longer to get this mopped up and out of the way. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL traffic.